started with nothing in humble beginnings. They wanna fuck with me now cause I'm winning. Chasing this chicken cause I'm on a mission. I'm known for get money and standing on business. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Keep that shit coming, they know how we living. Come from the struggle, got lost in the hustle. Straight out the mud, no, I compliment couples. Chasing big bills just to keep this shit subtle. You ain't on my team if you wasn't in the huddle. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Keep that shit coming, they know that I'm with it. I fit the description, I'm the definition. I'm what they prescribe like she seen a physician. She wanna ride cause she seen how we getting it. Big old booty, she my passenger princess. She like to argue, she don't like to listen. She bougie and toxic, she fine and she picky. Pretty and sedity, she get recognition. Matching nails and toes, man, she always French tip 'em. Parking lot pimping when we in the city. Don't ask her about twine, she twerk on the engine. She eat the dick in the car cause it's tennis. She pay me attention like she get commission. Pimpin' CEO, so I give her the business. She ride on the dick like she doing some fitness. She make the dick disappear like she magician. She like to swallow, man, she love when I finish. Having motion, man, you know I got plenty. Bitches choosing cause they know that I'm winning. Seen some thousands, now I'm at some millions. So all my houses come with chandelier ceilings. Pillow talking, man, that shit just ain't in me. Keep it pimpin', I can't do no pretending. Jealous hearted, man, you know I ain't with it. Cuffin' hoes, I can't do no commit. No, we started with nothing in humble beginnings. They wanna fuck with me now cause I'm winning. Chasing this chicken cause I'm on a mission. I'm known for get money and standing on business. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Keep that shit coming, they know how we living. Come from the struggle, got lost in the hustle. Straight out the mud, no, I compliment couples. Chasing big bills just to keep this shit subtle. You ain't on my team if you wasn't in the huddle. Chasing it up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Chasing this chicken, I ran up a ticket. Keep that shit coming, they know that I'm with it.
I'm lagging. Why am I lagging, chat? Why am I lagging? Shit's delayed, bruh. Let me try to fix this shit, man. We in intro mode, chat. Double tap the screen for me, man. We still in intro mode, man. I don't know why I'm lagging, chat. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm a saint, but I sin. I checked in the game to win. I left, she loving me again. I let her cry out the bins and they say time heal. Mine still felt like it was yesterday. How we're moving fast, probably too fast to even catch the play. Spend some night, she pack a bag, right to me, just getting gas. Coming back, I want it bad. I'ma touch it first, eat it last, it's temporary. Holly damn emotion said it's temporary. My pain deeper than the ocean. Temporary feelings mixed with temporary pleasures. All these temporary moments and these temporary treasures. Temporary circumstances to temporary measures. Temporary friends and even temporary schedules. Temporary smiles and temporary goals. Temporary women sliding on temporary poles. Temporary comments and temporary trolls. I just pray that God bless me. Ain't no temporary souls. I'm a saint, but I sin. I checked in the game to win. I left, she loving me again. I let her cry out the bins and they say time heal. Mine still felt like it was yesterday. How we're moving fast, probably too fast to even catch the play. Spend some night, she pack a bag, right to me, just getting gas. Coming back, I want it bad. I'ma touch it first, eat it last, it's temporary. Holly damn emotion said it's temporary. My pain deeper than the ocean. What we doing, chat? Y'all locked, man? Y'all locked? Let me turn this fan off, man. Y'all locked, chat, or what? Y'all locked? Let me turn that fan off, man. What we doing, chat? Y'all locked, man? What we doing, chat? Everybody double tap the screen, shut the live out, man. Y'all know what time it is, man.
Welcome to the greatest damn show on YouTube. Welcome to the greatest damn show on YouTube.
Oh, man. Double tap the screen, shut the live out. What we doing tonight, chat? What we doing tonight, chat? Double tap the screen, shut the live out, man. We got Trump addresses the world. Tucker and Dave Smith sit down. And we got the world leaders on standby, man. Double tap the screen. Shut a live out chat. We got an action-packed episode, man. What do we got going on in here tonight, chat? We got a couple miscellaneous clips. Trump did address the nation. He cut off all the major networks to get this message out. We also had a couple of the world leaders come out today. Tucker Carlson sat down with a full interview with Dave Smith. We had Anna over there on Piers Morgan going crazy. Also, Trump's spiritual advisor, former spiritual advisor, Texas megachurch pastor, is freed after only 6 months in jail for S-ing a girl that was 12 years old, man. S-ing a girl that was 12 years old. He said he's deeply sorry. After 6 months, he is out, chat. We had these conversations all the time. I said, you get caught with a little 3-5 adult, man, your ass going to the penitentiary. Your ass go out there and do some shit like this megachurch pastor. He's getting out after 6 months in jail, talking about he's deeply sorry, chat. What the hell is going on? Also, we got U.S. ground beef price hitting a new all-time high, chat. How much is ground beef where y'all are, man? Double tap the screen. Shut a live out. What's up, Heather? We finna get straight into it, chat. We finna get straight into Trump addressing the nation because I am running late and I didn't get to see that, man. I didn't get to see that. We'll get into the miscellaneous clips in a minute, but that Tucker Dave Smith was a pretty long episode too. Let's get into it, chat.
Because
before we get started, chat, we have to get to 100 likes. Everybody double tap the screen, go to the top and hit the like button. We have to get to 100 likes. We've been doing great on the like goals. Let's keep it going, chat. We're also 20 subscribers away from the next sub goal.
the United States can't take care of daycare. That has to be up to a state. We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it, too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes, but they should pay for it. And we could lower our taxes a little bit to them to make up, but it's not possible for us to take care of daycare. Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things, they can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal. We have to take care of one thing, military protection, because the United States can't take care of daycare.
All right, Chad, that
has to
clip,
be up to
man.
a state.
My bad, Chad.
We can't take care of...
I meant to pull up the full address. My bad, Chad.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking.
Imagine having an ad-free version of YouTube and they always load you up on the wrong damn account. Like, what's to this, Chad? My bad, Chad. I got to get this shit together. But we here right now, Chad. Everybody hit the like button.
Thank you very much. My fellow Americans, good evening. Let me begin by congratulating the team at NASA and our brave astronauts on the successful launch of Artemis 2. It was quite something. It will be traveling further than any manned rocket has ever flown and will very substantially pass the moon, go around it, and come back home from a distance that has never been done before. It's amazing. They are on the way, and God bless them. These are brave people. We want to God bless those 4 unbelievable astronauts. As we speak this evening, it's been just 1 month since the United States military began Operation Epic Fury, targeting the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, Iran. In these past 4 weeks, our armed forces have delivered swift, decisive, overwhelming victories on the battlefield. Victories like few people have ever seen before. Tonight, Iran's Navy is gone. Their Air Force is in ruins. Their leaders, most of them, terrorist regime they led, are now dead.
All right, Chad, let me know how you feel about this Operation Epic Fury. Do you feel like it's been a success or a failure, or It's not done yet. Success, failure, or not done yet, Chad. How do y'all feel about Operation Epic Fury up until this point?
Their command and control of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is being decimated as we speak. Their ability to launch missiles and drones is
What's up,
dramatically
Delphine? What's up,
curtailed, and
Lala?
their
What's up,
weapons
Heather?
factories and rocket launchers are being blown to pieces. Very few of them left.
What's
Never
up,
in
Too
the history of
Strong?
warfare has an enemy suffered such clear and devastating large-scale losses in a matter of weeks. Our enemies are losing in America, as it has been for 5 years under my presidency, is winning, and now winning bigger than ever before. Before discussing this current situation, I also want to thank our troops for the masterful job they did in taking the country of Venezuela in a matter of minutes. That hit was quick, lethal, violent, and respected by everyone all over the world. After rebuilding our military during my first term, we have by far the strongest military anywhere in the world.
What up, Captain America?
And now we're working along with Venezuela and are, in a true sense, joint venture partners. We're getting along incredibly well in the production and sale of massive amounts of oil and gas, the second largest reserves on Earth after the United States of America. We're now totally independent of the Middle East, and yet we are there to help. We don't have to be there. We don't need their oil. We don't need anything they have, but we're there to help our allies. Tonight, I want to provide an update on the tremendous progress our warriors have made in Iran and discuss why Operation Epic Fury is necessary for the safety of America and the security of the free world. From the very first day I announced my campaign for president in 2015, I have vowed that I would never allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
So, Chad, prior to Trump doing this conference, Iran's state media, the foreign ministry of Iran, released a letter to Americans, to the people of the United States of America. It's garnered 1.3 million views already. So we'll read that after this.
Weapon. This fanatical regime has been chanting death to America, death to Israel for 47 years. Their proxies were behind the murder of 241 Americans in the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut, the slaughter of hundreds of our service members with roadside bombs. They were involved in the attack on the USS Cole, and they carried out the countless other heinous acts, including the just horrible, bloody atrocities of October 7th in Israel. Something that most people have never seen anything like it. This murderous regime also recently killed 45,000 of their own people who were protesting in Iran. 45,000 dead. For these terrorists to have nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat. The most violent and thuggish regime on earth would be free to carry out their campaigns of terror, coercion, conquest, and mass murder from behind a nuclear shield. I will never let that happen, and neither should any of our past presidents. This situation has been going on for 47 years and should have been handled long before I arrived in office. I did many things during my 2 terms in office to stop the quest for nuclear weapons by Iran first, and perhaps most importantly, I killed General Qasem Soleimani in my first term. He was an evil genius, brilliant person, a horrible human being, however, the father of the roadside bomb, and he lived just horrible what he did. Iran would have been perhaps in far better, stronger position. Had he lived, we would have had probably a different conversation tonight. But you know what? We'd still be winning and winning big. And then, very importantly, I terminated Barack Hussein Obama's Iran nuclear deal, a disaster. Obama gave them $1.7 billion in cash, green cash, took it out of banks from Virginia, D.C., and Maryland, all the cash they had. He flew it by airplanes in an attempt to buy their respect and loyalty, but it didn't work. They laughed at our president and went on with their mission to have a nuclear bomb. His Iran deal would have led to a colossal arsenal of massive nuclear weapons for Iran, and they would have had them years ago, and they would have used them. It would have been a different world. There would have been no Middle East and no Israel right now, in my opinion, the opinion of a lot of great experts, had I not terminated that terrible deal. And I was so honored to do it. I was so proud to do it. It was so bad right from the beginning. Essentially, I did what no other president was willing to do. They made mistakes, and I am correcting them.
Yeah, he is repeating everything that he said. I guess he's trying to pound this message in. I don't know, Chad. This doesn't look good. We got an energy crisis going on globally. Australia's leader came out and spoke today as well, Chad. But we got to get the likes up, man. We're 25 likes away from the next like goal, man. Everybody double tap the screen or go to the top and hit the like button. This is crazy. He is repeating what he said over the last 3 times.
Our first preference was always the path of diplomacy, yet the regime continued their relentless quest for nuclear weapons and rejected every attempt at an agreement. For this reason, in June, I ordered a strike on Iran's key nuclear facilities, an Operation Midnight Hammer. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Those beautiful B-2 bombers performed magnificently. We totally obliterated those nuclear sites. The regime then sought to rebuild their nuclear program at a totally different location, making clear they had no intention of abandoning.
See, Terry, this is where, as an American, we become constrained by the bubble that we live in as Americans. You said, dude, seriously, I love your channel. What are you talking about? We're producing more energy on every level, none of which has to do with wind turbines and chopping up birds. When I say there's an energy crisis, there's a global energy crisis. Global. Asia's supposed to run out of oil as of to start running out today. Europe, they said that they have to like the 10th or the 11th. We having a global energy crisis. We have countries rationing fuel right now, making people work from home. All of that, we think that that doesn't matter to us, but that's where our relations are. All of these countries are going to have a bitter taste in their mouth, like if America didn't go over there fucking around, we wouldn't be in this crisis. So yes, there is a global energy crisis. Maybe America's not hit as hard as the rest of the world, but it's still going to have ramifications, especially in our wallets.
Abandoning their pursuit of nuclear weapons. They were also rapidly building a vast stockpile of conventional ballistic missiles, and would soon have had missiles that could reach the American homeland, Europe, and virtually any other place on Earth. Iran's strategy was so obvious. They wanted to produce as many missiles as possible, and they did, with the longest range possible, and they had some weapons that nobody believed they had. We just learned that out. We took them out. We took them all out so that no one would really dare stop them. And their race for a nuclear bomb, a nuclear weapon like nobody's ever seen before. They were right at the doorstep. For years, everyone has said that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, but in the end, those are just words if you're not willing to take action when the time comes. As I stated in my announcement of Operation Epic Fury, our objectives are very simple and clear. We are systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America or project power outside of their borders. That means eliminating Iran's Navy, which is now absolutely destroyed.
Okay, you made a brilliant point, but here's the thing, sir. If we could have stopped Hitler before the Holocaust, we had a choice to take him out. That would have benefited humanity. But that's a straw man. This has nothing to do with Hitler. Hitler was German. Hitler had nothing to do with the people we're talking about, Iran. These people have nothing to do with that. So to even compare the Ayatollah to Hitler is kind of crazy. I haven't seen the Ayatollah purge anyone. Yeah, they chant death to America, but I haven't seen them just purge Americans. I haven't seen them purge Israelis. I haven't seen them purge anybody. So that comparison is really not equal. What's up, OG?
Hurting their Air Force and their missile program at levels never seen before, and annihilating their defense industrial base. We've done all of it. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their missiles are just about used up or beaten. Taken together, these actions will cripple Iran military, crush their ability to support terrorist proxies, and deny them the ability to build a nuclear bomb. Our armed forces have been extraordinary. There's never been anything like it militarily. Everyone is talking about it, and tonight I'm pleased to say that these core strategic objectives are nearing completion.
See, that's the better way to put it. That's the better way to put it. Somebody said I got no beef with Iran. Someone said F Iran, we American. That's the better way to put it if you're gonna say that, because to compare the Ayatollah or what they're doing to something like Hitler, it's like let's be all the way honest, man. We don't even, there's not even signs that this shit's gonna be close. Hitler was on his own type of time. And you might as well just say fuck Iran if that's how you feel.
As we celebrate this progress, we think especially of the 13 American warriors
What's up,
who have
Dwayne?
laid down their lives in this fight to prevent our children from ever having to face a nuclear Iran. Twice this past month, I have traveled to Dover Air Force Base, and it's been something. I wanted to be with those heroes as they return to American soil, and I was with them and their families, their parents, their wives, their husbands. We salute them, and now we must honor them by completing the mission for which they gave their lives. And every single one of the people, their loved ones said, please, sir, please finish the job, every one of them. And we are going to finish the job, and we're going to finish it very fast. We're getting very close. I want to thank our allies in the Middle East, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain. They've been great, and we will not let them get hurt or fail in any way, shape, or form. Many Americans have been concerned to see the recent rise in gasoline prices here at home. This short-term increase has been entirely the result of the Iranian regime launching deranged terror attacks against commercial oil tankers in neighboring countries that have nothing to do with the conflict. This is yet more proof that Iran can never be trusted with nuclear weapons. They will use them, and they will use them quickly. It would lead to decades of extortion, economic pain.
Chat, we got to get to 100 likes right quick, man. Everybody double tap the screen or go to the top, hit the like button, man. We got to get to 100 likes. Everybody hit the like button now. We'll smash past the 100 likes, man. Let's keep hitting them like goals. What's up, Possum? What's up, Lala?
Can ever imagine. The United States has never been better prepared economically to confront this threat. You all know that. We built the strongest economy in history. We're going through it right now, the strongest in history. In 1 year, we've taken a dead and crippled country. I hate to say that, but we were a dead and crippled country after the last administration and made it the hottest country anywhere in the world by far, with no inflation, record-setting investments coming into the United States, over $18 trillion, and the highest stock market ever, with 53 all-time record highs in
None of that money helped us, man. I'm just going to be honest with you, man. None of that money helped us. Most of that money that was coming in was for AI investments. A lot of it was for AI investments. And guess what? The AI bubble it's just a fucking circle jerk. What are they doing? They're cutting off. Who was it first? Block let people go. Dell let people go. Oracle let people go. Everybody, all of that money came into the AI sector, and it's a circle jerk. It's all going to damn defense contracts and these fucking oligarchs, these technocrats, man. So I'm just being honest, Chad. I'm just being honest, man.
just 1 year. It all positioned us to get rid of a cancer that has long simmered. It's known as the nuclear Iran, and they didn't know what was coming. They've never imagined it. Remember, because of our drill baby drill program, America has plenty of gas. We have so much gas. Under my leadership, we are #1 producer of oil and gas on the planet without even discussing the millions of barrels that we're getting from Venezuela. Because of the Trump administration's policies, we produce more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. Think of that, Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. And that number will soon be substantially higher than that. There's no country like us anywhere in the world, and we're in great shape for the future. The United States imports almost no oil through the Hormuz Strait and won't be taking any in the future. We don't need it. We haven't needed it, and we don't need it. We've beaten and completely decimated Iran. They are decimated, both militarily and economically and in every other way. And the countries of the world that do receive oil through.
So, Terry, you said you give a good dialogue, I give you that, but be honest, to understand what we're doing is stopping the nuclear holocaust and the entire planet being held hostage behind a nuclear shield. I think we're starting a nuclear holocaust. That's where we differ. Because if it was that simple, we would have went and knocked on Kim Jong-un's door. He's the one actually testing missiles off the fucking coast over there, smoking a cigar, testing missiles, actively trying to reach the United States of America. Maybe he doesn't chant death to America, but what he does do is do nuclear tests saying that, hey, we're trying to reach America with these bitches. So if we're trying to stop a nuclear holocaust, then shit, it might be some more pressing issues as well.
The Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage. They must cherish it. They must grab it and cherish it. They can do it easily. We will be helpful, but they should take the lead in protecting the oil that they so desperately depend on. So to those countries that can't get fuel, many of which refuse to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, we had to do it ourselves. I have a suggestion. #1, buy oil from the United States of America. We have plenty. We have so much. And #2, build up some delayed courage. Should have done it before. Should have done it with us, as we asked. Go to the Strait and just take it, protect it, use it for yourselves. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done, so it should be easy. And in any event, when this conflict is over, the Strait will open.
That's what I'm saying. They say in North Korea, the citizens only get power, what, 2 days a year? Isn't that what they say in North Korea? That lady that escaped, we watched her, she said they only get power 2 days a year. And that's when Kim Jong-un wants to come on national TV for the rest of the year. They have no power over there. We talking about freeing a regime, freeing somebody from an oppressive regime. I mean, fuck, them folks ain't got no damn power. Shit, but 2 days out the year.
Open up naturally. It'll just open up naturally. They're going to want to be able to sell oil because that's all they have to try and rebuild. It will resume the flowing, and the gas prices will rapidly come back down. Stock prices will rapidly go back up. They haven't come down very much, frankly. They came down a little bit, but they've had some very good days over the last couple of days. We've done actually much better than I thought, but we had to take that little journey to Iran to get rid of this horrible threat. With our historic tax cuts, where people are just now talking about receiving larger refunds than they ever thought possible, they are getting so much more money than they thought. That's from the great big beautiful bill. Our economy is strong and improving by the day, and it will soon be roaring back like never before. It will top the levels that it was a month ago. I've made clear from the beginning of Operation Epic Fury that we will continue until our objectives are fully achieved. Thanks to the progress we've made, I can say tonight that we are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. In the meantime, discussions are ongoing. Regime change was Not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred because of all of their original leaders' death. They're all dead. The new group is less radical and much more reasonable. Yet if during this period of time no deal is made, we have our eyes on key targets. If there is no deal, we are going to hit each and every one of their electric generating plants very hard and probably simultaneously. We have not hit their oil, even though that's the easiest target of all, because it would not give them even a small chance of survival or rebuilding. But we could hit it, and it would be gone, and there's not a thing they could do about it. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Their radar is 100% annihilated. We are unstoppable as a military force. The nuclear sites that we obliterated with the B-2 bombers have been hit so hard that it would take months to get near the nuclear dust, and we have it under intense satellite surveillance and control. If we see them make a move, even a move for it, we'll hit them with missiles very hard again. We have all the cards, they have none. It's very important that we keep this conflict.
Chat, do you think there are more strikes on Iran by Friday, chat? Yes or no in the chat. Do you think there are more strikes going to happen on Iran by Friday? We just hit the 100 like mark, chat. Let's push on through the 200 likes. Everybody double tap the screen, hit the like button at the top. We're 25 likes away from the next like goal.
In perspective, American involvement in World War I lasted 1 year, 7 months, and 5 days. World War II lasted for 3 years, 8 months, and 25 days. The Korean War lasted for 3 years, 1 month, and 2 days. The Vietnam War lasted for 19 years, 5 months, and 29 days. Iraq went on for 8 years, 8 months, and 28 days. We are in this military operation so powerful, so brilliant, against one of the most powerful countries for 32 days. And the country has been eviscerated. And
you said, why do I think North Korea has a nuke? Because it's on record. Hell, they're one of the recognized nuclear nations. What are you talking about? It says they got an estimated arsenal of around 50 warheads and ongoing development of delivery systems. North Korea is the 10th country to develop nuclear weapons and the only one to conduct nuclear tests in the 21st century. Shit, that's why I think they got nukes. Hell.
Essentially is really no longer a threat. They were the bully of the Middle East, but they're the bully no longer. This is a true investment in your children and your grandchildren's future. The whole world is watching, and they can't leave the power, strength, and brilliance. They just can't believe what they're seeing. They leave it to your imagination, but they can't believe what they're seeing, the brilliance of the United States military. Tonight, every American can look forward to a day when we are finally free from the wickedness of Iranian aggression and the specter of nuclear blackmail. Because of the actions we have taken, we are on the cusp of ending Iran's sinister threat to America and the world. And I'll tell you, the world is watching. And when we do, when it's all over, the United States...
You said, are you Americans really mad at us in Europe because we don't support this attack war? No, we're not mad at you. We're not mad at you. Americans doesn't have any problems with Europeans. But it is a telling sign. It's kind of like, well, you know, shit. It was supposed to be right, wrong, and different, but it's not like that now. The global scale, the global alliances are shifting. But no, as an American personally, I'm not mad at the decision that your country's leaders made. I mean, shit, it's out of your hands. Why would I be mad at you for some shit your leaders chose?
Will be safer, stronger, more prosperous, and greater than it has ever been before. May God bless the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much, and good night.
You said, why can't I answer your argument? Because I haven't been reading your chat. I be real selective with the shit I read out loud, especially if it's not a
My fellow Australians, by nature, we're an optimistic country, but I understand that right now it's hard to be positive. The war in the Middle East has caused the biggest spike in petrol and diesel prices in history. Australia is not an active participant in this war, but all Australians are paying higher prices because of it. I know that you're seeing this at the servo and at the supermarket. And I understand farmers and truckies, small businesses and families are doing it tough. And the reality is, the economic shocks caused by this war will be with us for months. Tonight I want to speak directly with you about what the government is doing to shield Australia in these uncertain times. And also what all of us can do to help our country and help each other in the period ahead. On Monday, National Cabinet adopted the National... For our truckies, we have cut the heavy vehicle road user charge to zero. Both these measures will be in place for the next 3 months. We are working to bring the price of fuel down, to make more fuel here.
John, you could say you got some leftover lemon pepper wings. Say you got some leftover lemon pepper wings, John.
And get more fuel here, using our strong trading relationships with our region to bring more petrol, diesel and fertiliser to Australia. Now, it's the Australian way that people want to do their bit. And there are simple ways that you can. You should go about your business and your life as normal. Enjoy your Easter. And if you're hitting the road, don't take more fuel than you need, just fill up like you normally would. Think of others in your community, in the bush and in critical industries. And over coming weeks, if you can switch to catching the train or bus or tram to work, do so.
Yeah, so that's Australia, man. We ain't gonna watch too much of that. I just wanted to see what was going on, man. Let's get into the debate right quick, man. Let's get into the debate. Anna was over there on Piers Morgan. Like I said, Chad, I came on like a couple hours late, so we trying to run through this, man. I ain't got time to listen to that man from Australia. They got an energy crisis. They're telling them to be prepared for a nationwide energy crisis.
There's no evidence that 30,000 people were killed. Show me the evidence.
That 30,000 people were killed. I heard it from your mouth.
Where
evidence is there?
Elika?
Silence. And I'm going to tell you.
You're disgusting.
Oh, good. Insults. That's good.
President Trump says the war in Iran could be over within 2 or 3 weeks. The aftershocks, however, even if that is true, will last for years. Trump has told the Telegraph newspaper in the UK that he's now strongly considering a move to quit NATO altogether. The biggest military alliance in human history is a paper tiger, he said, and Putin knows that too. In a press interview, this is what the former NATO Commander General Sir Richard Sheriff said to me.
That Donald Trump has pretty much single-handedly torpedoed NATO as an alliance. 2 months ago, Donald Trump threatened to attack the territory of a NATO ally, Denmark, over Greenland. Nobody has forgotten that. Europeans will not forget that. That is a grotesque breach of trust. I think the special relationship is a fantasy put about, if I may say so, Piers, by the media and politicians.
Well, just about everybody agrees that NATO and Europe have been complacent about living in the comfort of US security. That's why, at Trump's insistence, they're all ramping up spending, and so they should. But just about everybody also agrees that both America and Europe are significantly weaker on their own. NATO and its member countries have refused to join the Iran war for very sound reasons. First and foremost, it's a defensive alliance. It was created to maintain peace, not create war. Second, by any reasonable definition, the Iran war is to many people an illegal one. If there was evidence of an imminent threat and a right to self-defense, we've yet to be presented with it. Many people in my country and across Europe are asking, why should our men and women risk their lives for a war that you began without coherently explaining why? The so-called paper tiger has been ready to support the United States on countless occasions. 13 countries mobilised after 9/11 and fought alongside the US for 20 years in Afghanistan. European allies supplied 30% of the airstrikes in the fight against ISIS. They share intelligence and assets all over the world. They were there in the Gulf War. They were even in the US after Hurricane Katrina. Trump is threatening to walk away and leave the global oil supply in chaos because he says the US has plenty of its own resources. Well, that would leave America's closest allies stranded, with the notable exception of Israel, which has no intention of ending hostilities anytime soon.
That's what I was telling somebody in the comments earlier, like he said, it doesn't matter because America has energy. I'm saying, like, shit, all of our allies rely on that, you know, so it's going to put us in a new position where new alliances will be made.
Soon, it would also leave the Iranian people stranded. For all the talk of liberation and Trump to the rescue, they'll be living under the same regime, weakened but angrier than ever. Joining me to debate all this, attorney and Iranian-American activist Elika Lebon, Aaron Mate, the journalist with the Grey Zone, Iranian-Canadian activist and former MP Goldy Gamari, and Anna Kasparian, the host and executive producer of The Young Turks. Well, welcome to all of you. Elika Lebon, I honestly can't keep up with where we are with this war, other than I read somewhere today, I think Axios reported this, that one of the Trump administration has said Trump isn't playing 3D chess, he's playing 12D chess, and that he basically throws out all these contradictory things because he wants to keep the enemy guessing. Now, maybe that's true, but it might also be, I would offer up as an alternative theory, that he's got himself into something that he quickly has realised is not a good idea.
Man, I think Trump just talking. I'm going to be honest. I just think Trump, at this point, Trump just get up there talking, saying whatever the fuck comes to his mind in that moment.
Idea, but not because taking out the Iranian regime is not a sound idea in principle, or they've been an appalling repressive regime, but not a good idea because the Iranians have hit back in a way I think that they've been taken by surprise by the scale of it, economically, by closing the Strait of Hormuz, by attacking the Gulf states, and that the combined effect of this has been a shuddering shock to the global economy. And so Trump wants out, and yet it's very difficult to see how he gets out with a convincing claim of victory. So those are the theories. What's your view?
I mean, at the end of the day, my view from the very beginning, and still my view to this day, is that this operation, whatever it is, has to be seen through to the end, because the worst case scenario is that this war ends and the regime is still in power. That's worse than if the war never happened at all. And so in terms of what I'm here to do, or what Goldie is here to do, is represent, you know, these sentiments of the Iranian people and how we feel about what these military strikes are doing, which are targeting an oppressive regime that, you know, has...
This is what I'm going to say, man. Y'all keep moving the goalposts, man. Now we're in a full-blown war. So what is it, man? If we leave without the centrifuges, if we leave without the uranium, what is it gonna be then, man? If we do, if they do keep the centrifuges, and we do get the uranium, but they keep the centrifuges, what is it gonna be, man? Extended conflict, long drawn out. Y'all don't gonna care. Y'all don't give a fuck.
We all know has been oppressing the Iranian people for 47 years. In terms of the military strategy, that's not really within our purview. The only thing that we can do is trust that the United States government knows what it's doing and has an effective plan to remove this regime.
Okay, but explain this to me. I get that, but let me...
This the thing. You said he's gonna do what he wants and y'all will deal with it. You're complaining ain't doing shit. Keep that same energy during midterms, man. Keep that same energy 2028, man. See, that's the thing. Everybody lives for today and forgets tomorrow, man. Keep that same energy, man, midterms, and keep it 2028, Witcher.
Let me just ask you this. Donald Trump said yesterday that the mission of making it impossible for Iran to develop a nuclear weapon had now been achieved, which seems to be where he's edging now as the sort of totality justification for the action he took. But there's one problem, is that all the enriched uranium remains untouched underground in Iran. The capacity to develop that into a nuclear weapon remains exactly as it was before this war was started. So I don't understand how Donald Trump, or anybody, frankly, can claim that they have stopped Iran from being able to develop a nuclear weapon when all the tools they need remain exactly where they were before it started.
Well, that's the question that's on everybody's mind, right? The only thing that...
You said, what is a centrifuge? So the centrifuges I've worked with, like, in my personal life, it's like a machine and it spins something around really fast. So like for instance, let's say it was you're testing something and you want to separate let's say blood plasma, and you put it in a centrifuge, it spins it around so fast that the blood and the it'll separate the fat from the blood or whatever, and you can test it.
That we've ever asked is
basically it's a machine that spins really, really fast.
For this war to go to completion and for this regime to be removed. It was never in our imagination that you would stop at the point that their nuclear capabilities were decapitated. We were told that the end of this war would be when this regime fell, that uncompromising surrender. That's the only ambition that we were ever told. So I don't know what to tell you about this falling short at just, well,
I'm going to bring the others in. I mean, Anna Kasparian, that's really interesting because, Elika's reflecting there what so many people are thinking, which is the goalposts have changed so often. It was early on, this was going to be regime change. And they thought by decapitating the top of the regime, killing the Ayatollah and a lot of the top people, then naturally, and apparently this was what the Israelis told the Americans, there will be uprisings and the regime will topple. None of that has happened. So they've now moved, it seems to me, to a different, game plan, which is actually what we meant all along, was degrading their military and stopping them building a nuke. They've done the first, that has to be accepted. They've massively degraded.
Leo, you said, why are we acting like they're not all working together, though? They're working together to a certain extent. They all have different end goals, right? So, yes, in a sense, they are working together, but once you get to the end goals are vastly different. And they will lie, cheat, steal, and stab somebody in the fucking back at the very end of the line to achieve said end goal. You got the technocrats pushing for one end goal. You got the legacy banking system pushing for one end goal. You have... It's just a lot going on right now, Leo. I'm not trying to take up too much time, but yes.
The Iranian military, but they've come nowhere near to stopping them developing a nuclear weapon if Iran chooses to, because the uranium is still there.
Unfortunately, you have two different countries that are involved in this effort to, I guess, either topple the regime in Iran, which isn't going to happen, or, degrade Iran's military capabilities and ability to build nuclear weapons. For the Israelis, it was never, ever about nuclear weapons. It was never about degrading Iran's military capabilities. It was always about regime change for them. But in order to build consent or manufacture consent among the American people for a war that...
Oh, chat, I did see. Didn't they say something about... I was going to talk about that on tomorrow's show because I didn't do a lot of research. But didn't they launch an investigation in the APEC? Oh, it was April Fool's Day. Fuck, it's April Fool's. Damn, I can't take none of that shit serious, chat. I'm tripping, man. That's why I didn't want to report on it. I got to wait till tomorrow. That's why I really didn't have a lot of stories today, because it's April Fool's Day, and I just was chilling today. Came on a couple hours late. Lala comes through via Super Chat and said, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you, Lala, for supporting the channel. AR Stoner says, yeah, man, they say nothing happens while a lot happens or some shit. Real talk.
Was going to be a disaster. The American people were fed lies and all sorts of fear-mongering about how Iran is such a threat that we need to get involved and we need to disarm the Iranians. Okay, how is that working out for us? There was no strategic military plan in place. Elika is on the propaganda wing, and she's like, oh, I don't know, it's not my job to think about the military strategy. No, Elika, it is your job to think about military strategy, because you're advocating for something that's going to get American soldiers killed. It's going to get innocent civilians killed. In fact, that's happening right now as we speak. And so you should ask yourself, is there really a reliable path here, a militaristic path that's going to secure what I personally want, which is regime change? And honestly, there isn't a path.
What's your path?
There isn't a path.
What?
First of all, I don't have a path because I've analyzed the situation and realized that Iran has a formidable military and that we're going to put our soldiers in jeopardy by taking them over there. I didn't interrupt you, and you're interrupting me. Why are you interrupting me? Pierce, are you going to intervene? Because she's interrupting me when I didn't interrupt her.
Yes, I think that's fair comment. You shouldn't interrupt each other because we can't hear either of you when you do. So
I appreciate it. it is important to ask yourself as you're
Yeah, it does seem like Anna might read aggressive, chat. You know, like Anna might just sit down with her newspaper in the morning and read that motherfucker so aggressively, man. I'm talking about like a book or anything. Like, it seems like Anna turns the pages on her book so hard she just rips them bitches. I'm talking about like, yeah, like Anna, I think she does everything aggressively.
you're advocating for military action, whether or not that military action is going to secure the gains that you're advocating for. And if you looked at the landscape, if you looked at the terrain in Iran, if you looked at what Iran is capable of doing, the fact that they control the Strait of Hormuz, you would think about all these elements before spouting off about getting the United States involved in a war that isn't going to secure what you think it's going to secure. There isn't going to be regime change in Iran. And by the way, I think it's disgusting that we are dragged into a war on behalf of a foreign country that does not plan to put any of their boots on the ground. Not a single IDF soldier is planning to be on the ground.
That's a really interesting point. Let me bring in Goldie Gamari. Welcome back to Uncensored, because it seems to me, look, I'm not a military expert, but a lot of my family have served at high level in the British military. And there is only one way to get that enriched uranium and therefore be sure that you can prevent Iran in the future developing a nuclear weapon, because they're very advanced as it is with this uranium. And the only way you can do it is with ground forces. The problem is it's incredibly dangerous, that operation, because of the terrain there, because of the way you would have to do it, because of the embedded defenses that the Iranians clearly have, the drones they have, and so on. This could very quickly, if America tried to do this, and I think it's perfectly reasonable, Anna, to point out, so far there's no suggestion the IDF will join this, even though it's clear from Marco Rubio's own mouth that America went into this because the Israelis said, we're doing it with or without you. If it becomes a ground war, this could become very quickly disastrous.
Chat, yes or no in the chat. Do you think this becomes a ground war? Yes or no, chat. Will this develop into a ground war? We are 25 likes away from the next like goal, chat. I need everybody to double tap that screen, go to the top, keep us in the algorithm, man. Let's hit the next like goal, man.
I mean, do you accept there's that risk here?
There's always a risk in everything that happens, but I mean, ultimately, we're dealing with the most powerful military in the world, the U.S. military. Their intelligence is top notch. President Trump himself has said that the reason that he decided to begin this as he calls it, an excursion into Iran is not because of Israel, it's because he assessed the threats to the United States. And, you know, obviously the commander-in-chief of the United States of America has way more intelligence information than, you know, just random podcasters on YouTube. So, you know, I trust President Trump. I trust his analysis. And Pete Hegseth has also said that the vast majority of the Islamic regime's ground forces, it has been destroyed. Their drones, their missiles, everything. So the only
A large majority of their ground forces have been destroyed. Lady, they said they got 1 million fucking soldiers over there. They got a million warm bodies over there. What the hell are we talking about?
thing that's really left of the Islamic regime is just their paramilitary forces. In fact, they're so weak that they're now not only bringing militia groups from Iraq, but they're now actually conscripting 12-year-old children, which is a war crime. So the Islamic regime is now using children to fight.
But if they're that weak, all right, look, let's take for a moment your premise that they've been almost obliterated, which I keep hearing. Okay, but from where I'm looking, the regime has not been displaced. I mean, Donald Trump this morning put out a new post on Truth Social saying Iran's new president, much less radicalized and far more intelligent than his predecessors, has just asked the United States of America for a ceasefire. We will consider when the Hormuz Strait is open, free and clear. Until then, we're blazing Iran into oblivion, or as they say, back to the Stone Ages, his usual hyperbolic rhetoric. But we don't know who he's talking about, by the way, because no one's come forward from the Iranian side to say, yes, that's me, and we are talking to the Americans.
And Piers, I think that's actually very funny because As far as we knew, the president was Pezeshkian. If President Trump is saying that there's a new president,
Right.
does that mean Pezeshkian has been obliterated?
Well, that's why.
I mean,
That's why I said, we don't know who this guy is. We don't know that he's much less radicalized because we've no idea who it is, or that he's more intelligent than his predecessors. It could just be Trump playing games, trying to divide and rule with the IRGC. That's highly likely, I would think. And maybe that's an effective tactic. We shall see. With all these things, once a war starts, it's very, very difficult to predict how this plays out. But what I would say about the strength of the American military is there's been an asymmetric war going on here. And I'll bring Aaron in here. The asymmetric war is that you've got the American and Israeli combined incredibly powerful military, the most powerful military we've ever seen in this planet, waging merry hell across the skies of Tehran. But at the same time, the Iranians, like I said earlier, very skillfully and with great cunning, it has to be said, doing a very effective job in economically strangling the world through the Strait of Hormuz, and also strangling the economies of the Gulf states, its neighbours, by attacking refineries, by attacking tourist areas and so on. This has been very effective. I think far more effective than the Americans and Israelis thought may happen. So you've got two wars going on here, and my guess is because of the pain that's happening at the gas station prices, food prices to come, because fertilizer's been shut and so on, you're going to see a lot of fallout from this all summer. You've got the midterm elections in America in...
So oil prices did start rising off the news of Trump. Basically, they're summing up what Trump said is war will last 2-3 weeks. The U.S. will strike Iranian power plants if no deal is reached. Core strategic objectives are close to completion. U.S. will bring Iran back to the Stone Age. U.S. will not import oil from the Strait of Hormuz in the future. Iran's Navy is gone and their Air Force is in ruins. And off all of that news, oil is going back up.
In November, Donald Trump...
Also, they're reporting that diamonds have crashed to their lowest level in history. The price of diamonds are the cheapest they've been this century.
Trump is many things, but he's not politically stupid. He will know that they could take an absolute beating in the midterms and render him a lame duck if he doesn't do something to resolve where he is right now. I think he wants out, which is why he keeps talking about 2 to 3 weeks, I'm gone, and whatever. What do you feel?
I think his foremost concern right now is calming the markets. And that's why he keeps saying that he's having these great talks and they're getting somewhere and he's going to wrap this up really soon. I can't divine what's in his head anymore. I used to think he had smart political instincts, but I think going to war against Iran in a completely unjust, unprovoked fashion has blown up that impression for me. And there's a debate going on right now that we're having about whether or not the Trump-Netanyahu war in Iran is effective. I think we're missing a more fundamental question. Is it right? Is it just? And the fact that Iran is waging asymmetrical warfare underscores a really important point. It's the weaker party militarily, which underscores it's not a threat to anyone. Trump went to war because Iran acts as a deterrent to U.S. and Israeli hegemony in the region. That's not a threat to anyone's security. It's a threat to domination. And that's why Iran is being subjected to these attacks. And it's whether or not Trump can achieve his goals or not, it doesn't obscure the fact that it's fundamentally illegal. Under the standards of the Nuremberg trials, aggression is the supreme international crime. That is what Trump undertook here. Even his own intelligence agencies affirmed a year ago, and this hasn't changed, that Iran did not have a nuclear weapons program. It limited its missile ranges. At best, they said
but
by 2035...
But hang on that point, because we do know they were clearly lying about the capacity of their missiles, right? They fired a missile only last week, which went twice as far, a ballistic missile, twice as far as they had said that their missiles were capable of going. It didn't actually land on its target, but the distance it travelled would mean it could potentially get to Europe, it could get to London, to Paris, whatever. That is in direct contradiction to the undertakings Iran are given about the distances its missiles could go. So they've clearly been lying.
Well, not necessarily, because first of all, even NATO said we can't confirm that Iran fired that missile. So I'm not even sure that it was Iran, but let's say it was Iran. If it was Iran, then it's quite possible they put on.
Well, who else fired it?
Well, listen, I wouldn't put anything past Israel. They carry out all sorts of nefarious acts all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a false flag. But listen, let's assume it was Iran.
Well, hang on, Aaron. You're expecting me to You're expecting me to believe that Israel deliberately fired a ballistic missile at an American base.
Yeah, that happens. Believe it or not, that has happened in the past.
Yeah, Israel decades ago attacked the USS Liberty, killed a bunch of U.S. soldiers. So actually, I wouldn't put it past them. But listen, let's assume it was Iran. Let's assume it was Iran. Just hold on.
Chat. Do you think Anna is anti-Semitic, Chat? A lot of people say Anna is an anti-Semite, man. Is Anna anti-Semitic, Chat? Yes or no, man? Double tap the screen, shut a live out, Chat. We're 30 likes away from 200. Let's hit 200 likes right quick. Double tap that screen to go to the top and hit the like button. Is Anna anti-Semitic, man?
1 second. I'll just finish this point.
Is it possible?
If it was Iran, if I can finish this point, it's possible they put a smaller payload on the missile, which means it can travel further. And regardless, look, this whole debate is skewed because Iran is defending itself against an act of unprovoked aggression, an act that is not targeting the quote-unquote regime. It's hitting schools. They massacred over 150 girls in the opening hours of this unprovoked war. They're hitting pharmaceutical plants that make medicines, for Iranians.
On this point,
they're hitting residential buildings.
Yeah, but Aaron, the idea. Okay, but look, I have serious misgivings about this war and have done from the start. I do not think that Iran had an imminent capacity to have a nuclear weapon or to use one. I think that is nonsense, and also flies completely in the face of what we were told. Hamas and other proxies against Israel. Ayatollah has led the chants of death to America, death to Americans. They have killed, I think, more Americans than any other nation in the world, right, in the last 47 years. So this idea that this has all happened out of nowhere, I just think is disingenuous.
I think the fundamental problem in the region is that you have an Israeli government that gives itself the right to displace the indigenous Palestinians, steal their land, and deny them a homeland. And Iran, on that question, has been far more accommodating than Israel.
Chad, do you think the Israelis have done... Let me rephrase the question.
47 years. So this idea that this has all happened out of nowhere, I just...
See, here go Marvin saying, here we go. How y'all gonna say yes, bruh? I haven't even asked the question and y'all are saying yes?
You think is disingenuous?
I think the fundamental problem in the region is that you have an Israeli government that gives itself the right to displace the indigenous Palestinians, steal their land, and deny them a homeland. And Iran, on that question, has been far more...
Is this a land grab, Chad? I'm going to say it like this. Are the Israelis on a land grab right now, Chad? Yes or no, man?
Accommodating than Israel and the U.S. have in terms of accepting the international framework for the Israel-Palestine issue. Iran has said that they would support the Arab Peace Initiative, which offered Israel full normalization if it allowed Palestinians to have a state in just 22% of historic Palestine. Iran has cooperated with the U.S. in the past. You mentioned earlier that Trump is turning his back on NATO and NATO helped the U.S. in Afghanistan. So did Iran. Iran provided critical intelligence to the U.S. that helped the U.S. capture fighters from al-Qaeda and the Taliban. And that was blown up when George W. Bush gave the speech declaring Iran to be a part of the axis of evil.
I see y'all saying, do you even have to ask, or you don't need a chat to figure this one out? I want a live poll, man. I want to see how the chat feel, man. I want to see if it's 50-50, 75, 20, 60, 40, or what, man. This is where we get the engagement. This is why y'all come in here and kick it with me, man, because everybody's not going to agree, and you're going to get a different point of view, man. It is what it is, man. Is this a land grab, chat? Press 3 if it's a land grab. Press 4 if it is not a land grab, man. Double tap the screen, chat. We're 22 likes away from the next like goal.
The U.S. Ambassador Ryan Crocker said that seriously undermined Iran's cooperation, which was very, very fruitful. And there have been so many more diplomatic initiatives since. Iran sent Bush a letter offering to resolve all these issues. Bush ignored it. There was the Iran nuclear deal, which even Trump's own administration certified that Iran was complying with.
And what about the slaughter? What about the slaughter of thousands of protesters, including many completely innocent civilians, on the streets of Iran in January, for example? Because the noise from the left, I have to say, was pretty... I'm not accusing you or and I don't know what you both said about it at the time. You can enlighten me.
Said nothing.
But there was a deafening.
I'll tell you what I said.
Oh, hang on. There was a.
Don't speak for me. Don't put words in my mouth.
You said it. No, I actually remember very well.
Sorry, I'm actually talking.
You don't know what I had to say about it.
30,000 people were killed. I heard it from your mouth.
Okay.
There's no evidence that 30,000 people were killed. Show me the evidence.
There it
I'll
is.
admit that
There
I'm
it
wrong.
is.
But
How many do you?
So, chat, there were reports coming out of the Iranians that were unalived over there. Reports are ranging from 3,000 to 32,000, even upwards of 50,000. How many Iranians do you think were actually unalived during that month of mayhem when they cut it? We know that Iran has been without internet for over 30 days now. How many civilians do you think were unalived in that month of mayhem? Reports are ranging from 3,000 all the way to 50,000.
You think we're
Where
killed?
is the evidence, Elika? Where's the
you want me to
evidence?
tell you?
What's
you
the
want me to tell
source?
you?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can tell you the source. I can tell you the source because how quickly you believe in terrorist regime, but you don't believe.
Just give me the source. I don't need to.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now. Silence, and I'm going to tell you. Every single hospital in every single city in Iran gave a tally of how many corpses were in their beds. In total, that amounted to 36,500 people, and that didn't include the people that were
source? What source compiled those numbers?
The hospital. The hospitals.
Every hospital? Okay, so you
Every
yourself talked to every single hospital?
I saw the list. I saw the list of every hospital with every number.
You saw the list.
Google it.
Who
Google
published
it.
the list? Who published the list?
It's everywhere.
I'm going to be honest, chat. I don't know how many Iranians died, but I can see the incentive to say that a lot more died, because we got to understand that not only would there be justification, there will also be ammo to fight back for reparations. We know Iran has already asked for $100 billion in reparations. So I believe that that would be a way to fight back. Like, reparations for what? You just unalived. We wouldn't have to go through this if you didn't unalive 30,000 of your people. Do y'all get where I'm going with that, man?
Human rights organizations.
You should know the source. You should memorize that. If you're so heated about
I'm
this
telling
issue.
you.
But, okay,
you should
but you know
memorize
what's
that.
interesting? Okay, hang on. You know what's interesting, Anna? Yeah, you're having the complete reverse. You're having the complete reverse.
No, I'm not.
Well,
I'm not.
okay, I'm going to explain. We haven't
the
heard
New York Times just published a piece on
You
this
haven't
that I
heard
hope
my
you
question
read.
yet.
That I hope you read.
You haven't
Go
heard
ahead.
my question yet.
Right. You care about the deaths in Palestine, but
No,
you don't
no,
care about
not
the
that,
Iranian
not
people.
that.
I do care about the Iranian
you
people.
got utterly,
Unfortunately, they've
hang
been...
on. You got utterly enraged when people questioned the number of people who'd been killed in Gaza, rightly, because it turned out those numbers were broadly accurate, have now been admitted by Israel. And yet here you are doing exactly what so many Israeli guests did on this show about the deaths in Gaza. You're just refusing to believe any of the numbers coming out of things. So my question for you would be, well, if it wasn't 30,000, then how many...
Should that... Never mind, chat. Y'all gonna roll me up if I ask that.
Do you think were killed?
I don't know. I don't know
So
exactly
how do you know it wasn't 30,000?
Hold on. Let me explain.
Sorry, hang on.
Elika,
Sorry,
let me make
again,
my point.
Anna,
If you're going to ask a
Anna,
question, let me
Anna,
answer it. Let me answer the question.
Anna,
I
so
know,
my
but
point
let me
being,
answer the
my
question.
point being, the very question that I used to ask all the Israeli guests who would try and cast aspersions is the same question I put to you. It's the same question to you, which is, if you don't know, how do you know it wasn't 30,000?
Okay, let me explain it, okay?
You don't know.
No, Piers.
I was gonna ask, like, shit, is it gonna be like the same thing? Like, are we gonna call these people deniers? If you don't believe that 30,000 Iranians or 40,000 Iranians were slaughtered in the streets, are you a denier? If you don't believe that all of the Palestinians were unalived in Gaza, are you a denier, chat? I'm just asking, man. Are you a denier? Y'all know what kind of denier I'm talking about, man. Don't act slow now.
Okay, when it comes to Gaza, the Gaza Health Ministry, historically, you look at the history, they have historically been accurate and very careful when they publish death tolls, okay? They're always confirmed. In fact, oftentimes, they're an underestimate. So I know to trust the Gaza Health Ministry because of its history of publishing accurate data. In the case of Iran, we know a few things. We know because so many American former government officials and current government officials and the Israeli media were literally bragging about putting Mossad on the ground, arming people. And that's why so many of the law enforcement or police officers, security forces in Iran were also killed. Okay, there's a lot of disinformation coming out, and there are different sources publishing different information about the death toll, which is why I don't know. I have not found a source.
You said I'm being ignorant with that wording. Hey, man, it is what it is. Call it what you want, man. I'm just saying, man, if the numbers, the numbers are being debated, man. Across all of these atrocities, the numbers are being debated, man. Right? Y'all gonna cancel me for saying that? I don't give a fuck. Unsubscribe, man. Double tap the screen, shut a live out, child. We 10 likes away from 200, man. I'm just saying the numbers are being debated throughout all of these atrocities, man.
Right, but you're, and yet you are
giving me accurate data.
No, but Anna, again, I would use the same questioning I did to people about Gaza.
How many of them were killed by Mossad operatives? How many of them were actually killed by
I'm not asking you that. No. I'm simply saying, once you've admitted you have no idea how many were killed, I find it extraordinary that you would be so emphatic in refuting the 30,000 number. You don't know.
You think 30,000 people were slaughtered in 1 week?
I think it could easily have happened from the scenes that I was looking at. Yes.
I don't.
Okay, you don't believe it. Okay, but
I don't believe it.
Given that you've admitted you don't know, you don't know. Let me come back to Elika. You know, I have noticed.
Alcatone says it doesn't matter if one person is unalived to 30,000. I'm sorry to say, Alcatone, yes, the fuck it does, man. We can act like it doesn't. We can be humanitarian and say everybody fucking mad. No, man. Let's just be all the way honest with you, man. 30,000 people matters a lot more than one when it comes to war and going in and dropping bombs and airstrikes and shit, man. One bad apple is not going to cause a damn airstrike. Now 30,000 people get to dropping, man. Shit gets to going on, man.
There's been I think there has been a double standard here from people on the left, who I respect, where they seem to care an awful lot more about Palestinians being killed in Gaza, which I also shared their care.
You said, what if it was my brother? If it was my brother, wouldn't nobody come over there to save him. If my brother was somewhere abroad right now and got unalive, man, they wouldn't be sending everything over there, man. Let's just be honest. Now, if my brother was with a lot of people and some shit happened, yeah, they will probably send some over there. You know, it's just the difference, man. It's just the difference, man. They're not about to spend $200 billion for one life, man. Let's be honest.
About and the protesters killed in Tehran at the start of the year, and it was deafening. It was deafening, and Hollywood was deafening by its silence too. And I just think that's another thing that is just wrong about this. It's intellectually dishonest to people, right? To pick and choose.
You know what's dishonest, Pierce? The fact that Iranians are getting killed right now. Civilians are getting targeted right now. This war began, with 175 people getting slaughtered at an elementary school? Elika, you got anything to say about that? Do your people feel liberated?
Yeah, I do,
You don't live in Iran? You've never lived in Iran. And you have the audacity to talk about this as if it's the liberation of the Iranian people as they're getting killed, as their hospitals are being bombed, as healthcare workers are being killed. Disgusting.
Right. Let Elika respond. Let Elika respond.
I'm not going to shut up.
When you talk about...
Well, you're not going to respond because you asked me to stop her interrupting.
Chad, is Anna valid for mentioning that she has never lived in Iran? Is that a valid argument? Anna's telling the other lady she has never lived in Iran. Is that valid? Is that a valid argument? She said she's visited many times. Anna's like, you never lived there. Is it valid to say that she need to shut the fuck up because she hasn't lived there? Chat, hit the like button. We're 25 likes away from the next like goal. Double tap the screen, go to the top, hit the like button. We're 20 subscribers away from the next sub goal. We go live every single night over here, talking politics, current events, and entertainment.
You. So I'm now saying to you,
Okay,
Anna,
go ahead, Elika.
let her speak.
Please go ahead.
When you talk about the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry, you say their numbers have historically been accurate. Well, did they ever separate civilians from... Oh, good. Insults, that's good. Did they ever separate civilians from combatants? They didn't. And in the end, we discovered that that number did include many combatants, okay?
The idea
so that's
did,
the first
actually.
thing.
We know their numbers.
Correct. That's good.
83%
right?
civilians.
Okay, are you going to interrupt?
83%.
Are you going to interrupt? Actually, Hamas said that 50,000 of them were combatants. Regardless, you are quick to trust the Hamas-run health ministry, which just shows who you trust, right? Which is terrorist regimes. Second of all, you sat there just right now and said 178 school children were killed. First of all, you said nothing about the hundreds of children that were killed on January 8th and January 9th by the regime. And second of all, where did you get that number from? The only people who have confirmed that number is the regime. And that just goes to show.
Wait, hold on.
Wait,
are you denying that 175 people were slaughtered in that school? Are you denying it? Are you denying it?
Let me finish my point.
Because you did deny that it was the US Israelis that did that.
Are you going to let me finish my point? There absolutely were.
They are some deniers, chat. They are some deniers, man. Everybody's denying something, man. All the numbers are being debated, man.
Children killed in that strike. How many? We don't know, because the only people who have confirmed it is the regime.
Yeah, but again, Elika, okay, well, now let me, hang on.
Let me finish.
Let me jump in there. No, because you're now doing exactly. Sorry,
I'm not.
You're now.
If you let me, Piers, if you let me finish my point,
we know how many children were killed. We know how many were at the school.
That's not what I'm saying. Piers, let me finish my point, and you'll see what I'm saying. Okay. I'm not saying what's real and I'm not saying what's not real. Here is the point that I'm making. When the people, okay, tell you something, doctors, witnesses, eyewitnesses on the ground tell you something, okay, it is questioned. When the regime says something, it is believed. So what I'm saying is that I'm pointing out to the hypocrisy of how easily they believe regimes, which they might be true. It might be true.
Yeah, but you know, the trouble is, again, you're both basically casting doubt over the death toll numbers.
It's not about casting doubt.
You're both casting doubt over the death toll numbers of the other side. And that's my point about intellectual dishonesty. I don't think it's honest to do that. I mean, in relation to the attack on the school, it's pretty obvious to anybody what has happened there.
We know that people were... We know
why. It used to be... Let me finish my point, please. It used to be part of an IRGC compound. Then it was moved out several years ago to be just outside the compound.
All right, Pastor.
I suspect they clearly deliberately attacked the compound and the missile was slightly off and hit the school and killed over 160, 70 young schoolgirls at school. It was a disgusting thing to happen. And what America should have done, what President Trump should have done, is just immediately had the investigation, concluded it immediately. They know if one of their missiles hit that school or not. They knew immediately. And they should just say, we made a terrible mistake. We were aiming for the compound next to it. We hit the school. Terrible things happen in war. Terrible mistakes happen in war. We are owning mistakes.
I seen that clip, chat, where they said it was girls at a volleyball practice, man. Like, I understand that this is war and things happen, chat, but I'm just sitting here like, trying to put it into perspective. Like, that was a damn volleyball practice, bro. They got hit with an airstrike. Shit is crazy.
This mistake. I would respect any country that says that when that kind of thing happens enormously more than I respect the obfuscating and disingenuous bullshit we've heard about the attack on that school. Right?
Absolutely. But Piers, that's not the point. The point is that how quickly people run with numbers provided by a regime that historically does nothing but disseminate propaganda, and how quickly they question the words of the witnesses of people who have seen this massacre on the ground. That shows you who they defer to. And that is what's worrying.
Okay, let's just...
I'll make a point here. The government published a list of people that it says were killed during those protests. If people think that list is...
I get it, Amber, but if we're going to talk about October 7th, you know that all of that gets debated too. Like, I've watched these a lot, man. And I did see that one guy that say that he got some stand-down orders. Now, I don't know how true that is, but the one guy said he got stand-down orders, and I was like, damn, that's kind of crazy. All of these atrocities going on throughout the world, chat. One thing that I can say is that I don't know, chat. I don't see it ending anytime soon. I see new borders being made, new alliances being created, backs being stabbed, hands being greased, chat. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I think we're in for a fucking long ride.
It's false. What they can do is
they're either alive or dead.
There has been.
You know what? They're either alive or dead. And it will be verified. And my guess is that many thousands were killed. Exactly how many thousands, I don't know. I'm intellectually honest enough to say I don't know. But I certainly, because I don't know, I'm not in a position to emphatically deny any figure because I don't know. Let's just turn. I want to turn to another. Hang on. Listen, we're running out of time.
Because those numbers are ridiculous.
I want to turn.
Those numbers are ridiculous.
I want to turn to another issue.
From 30,000 to 40,000.
All right, we've done the ridiculous numbers. All right, stop talking, please.
Because you're anointed.
I want to change the subject and bring Aaron in here. All right, Aaron. I want to talk about this extraordinary thing yesterday where Israel's parliament approved a law that would make the death penalty the default sentence for Palestinians convicted of what they regard as deadly terror attacks. The legislation was pushed by the far right with Ben-Gvir, the National Security Minister, its driving force. After the vote, and I found this particularly sickening, he was seen opening bottles of champagne and celebrating, posting on X, "We made history, we promised, we delivered." And, I just found this, I have to be honest, completely repellent. I find Ben-Gvir and Smotrich repellent anyway. I think they are unbelievably far right. I think they have dragged Israel into very dark places, this Israeli government. And I think that this is indicative of what I mean by that. The death penalty has existed but not been used in Israel for decades. They're bringing it back only for Palestinians who they deem guilty of terrorism. Some will have committed acts of terror. Others are furiously disputed by the Palestinian side. So it's an arguable point. And we'll have to see who they decide they're going to kill. Ben-Gvir and others were wearing nooses as badge lapels on their suit. It was sickening. But also, they're saying it won't apply to Israelis, right? So you won't have Israelis being killed under this new law in Israel, because, of course, they're not going to convict any of their own for any act of terrorism, even though many other people view a lot of the behaviour by some of the more rogue elements of the IDF to be acts of terrorism. So there's a terrible double standard there, which, and the way the Ben-Gvir and others have been celebrating it is sickening for anybody, right? Whoever you are. What's your view of this?
Yeah, chat, I seen them popping bottles, champagne and shit. I was like, man, that's crazy, bro. Yeah. Celebrating the death penalty is crazy.
And this is the government that works.
It's like some rappers, man. They was really acting like rappers.
Class American soldiers are being forced to die for. Nobody signed up to defend this fanatical Jewish supremacist state. But yet this is what people are being sent off to West Asia to defend. And to die on behalf of. As Anna pointed out, the Israeli military won't even be sending its own ground forces if there is a ground invasion of Iran. This is what the Israeli government is. People like to think there was maybe an earlier time when the Israeli government was more liberal and things have gone the wrong way. Well, when you found your country on ethnic cleansing, when you claim that there's a divine right to steal land from somebody else, when you establish an apartheid regime that privileges one group, Jews, over another, Palestinians, this is what is going to happen. This is the inevitable result of Zionism. And it's what so many people around the world now are waking up to as being just incompatible with any basic standards of humanity. But yet we're constantly told by all of our leaders that Israel is a top ally, they share our values. Well, these aren't my values, and these aren't the values I think of most.
Thank you, Dwayne. Dwayne Curry comes through via Super Chat supporting the channel. Thank you, Dwayne, for your continued support, man.
Decent-minded people. So what you're seeing now, I think, because of Israel's actions, and it's not just, it goes far beyond this measure. We've just seen more than 2 years of a mass murder campaign against the defenseless civilian population in Gaza, which is ongoing. And also, you're seeing concurrent acts of terror every single day by Jewish settlers backed by Israeli soldiers in the occupied West Bank. People are waking up against this, and global opinion.
Yeah, look, I would agree with
Israel.
you. I would agree with you on the settler point. I think there's been some outrageous aggression by Israeli settlers against Palestinians in the last few months. I would take issue again just with the way you characterise the defenceless civilians in Gaza. Of course, they're surrounded by Hamas terrorists who committed one of the worst acts of terrorism in modern times on October the 7th and are still embedded all around civilians and have been from the start of this.
All right, chat. Do you think America should free Cuba, chat? Agree or disagree? America should free Cuba. Agree or disagree, chat? We're 11 likes away from 250, chat. Let's hit 250 likes right quick. Double tap the screen, man, or go to the top at the like button. Should America free Cuba?
War. So they're not, if you're being honest again about what's happening in Gaza, they're not defenseless. I think it's gone way too far what's happening in Gaza. I think the initial defence I made of Israel's right to defend itself, its duty to defend itself and its population, has been just desecrated by the scale of what has gone on there. And the fact they still won't let journalists in to verify what has gone on there says everything to me. It says they know what they've done does not live up to their claim to be the most moral army in the world. They've done stuff so bad, they won't let journalists in to look at it. And so, that's my view about it. But I think the idea that no one has been there armed in Gaza able to fire back, obviously they have. That's what Hamas have been doing.
I didn't say they couldn't fire back. I said they can't defend themselves from one of the most sophisticated.
Hey, man, Mr. Cuban, man, don't get mad at me, man. I'm not saying this shit. This is the administration talking about you need to free yourself before free anyone. The fuck type of question. Hey, don't get mad at me, man. Trump said Cuba's next, talking about that regime over there, man. They're talking about regime change. Don't get mad at me. Shit. You mad at Bulletproof now. I'm asking the question. And you getting a live answer. Hannibal comes through via Super Chat supporting the channel and says, Cubans should free Cuba. Thank you, Hannibal. Well, we have that blockade there, though. America has that blockade there, though. So are you saying the Cubans should do something with that damn blockade?
Armies in the world dropping 2,000-pound bombs on residential areas and destroying.
No, I get that, but the truth is that war went on for a long time because actually there was a lot coming back the other way too, right? So I agree with you. I don't disagree with your overall point. It's just language is quite important. Let me bring in.
I agree.
Let me say one point here. I want to bring in Goldie on this point. Goldie, you can defend Israel's government, and so on. I hate the way people conflate the actions of the government with Israeli people or Jewish people. To me, it's a ridiculous thing to do. It's anti-Semitic to hold the Israeli government to account whether they're this right wing and doing such terrible things.
Thank you,
when
Hannibal.
I looked at what Ben Gvir was doing there, right there, I think I posted this on X. This is despicable to see a senior government minister of any supposedly civilized country cracking the champagne open at the thought of killing people. Whatever your argument about the people that they're going to put to death, wearing nooses on the thing that they've gone back hundreds of years into the Wild West. This is wrong, isn't it? Can you condemn this?
I mean, my understanding of this law is that it is limited to Palestinians and Hamas terrorists who were specifically involved in the October 7 attack. So this is basically a law that's only for that particular incident. With respect to internal Israeli politics, I mean, I don't really comment on internal politics. Not really my thing. I mean, you
do for Iran.
So yeah, because I'm Iranian. Of course, I comment on Iran. I'm Iranian. Why
okay, well, you're not American. So why are you trying to drag America into wars that you want America to fight?
Why are you commenting on Iran? You're not Iranian.
Okay, then how about you leave America out of it? You want to comment on Iran, that's fine, but demanding that American soldiers die on behalf of your little agenda is a little disrespectful, isn't it?
I think it's absolutely
It's not-
insane that you
not
think that
very
I
good.
have anything to do with President Trump's decision to go in and destroy the Islamic regime. I think you're absolutely insane.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. That question didn't really, you know what I'm saying, correlate. But yeah, Trump don't give a fuck about what this woman is saying right here. That's honestly, I don't think Trump gives a fuck about what this woman is saying. But Anna, you kind of comment on geopolitics for a job. So you comment on a lot of countries that you are not fucking from. As do I, as do all, people in this space. So I don't get that argument.
I mean, he takes
And I have nothing
counsel
else to
from.
Now, when you're speaking about it, you can have some decorum, but to tell her that she can't talk about it is kind of crazy.
The
There you
likes
go.
of
I
Laura
have nothing else
Loomer,
to
so
say.
you never know. You never know.
I have nothing else
I'd
to say to
actually
you.
like to go back to someone who has
And Anna,
things
I will
of substance to say
Anna, I
real
will
quick.
come to you about this issue, but I just want to finish one point with Goldie. It's not true that this only applies to Palestinians who were involved in October the 7th. It doesn't. So that's not.
If that's the case, then I mean, as a former parliamentarian, I probably wouldn't be, sipping champagne and celebrating. I think, it's a very grave.
Well, especially a law that
it's
only
grave
applies
and
to one
serious
ethnic
situation.
group.
So, I mean, I would not.
Right, but it
behave
only
that.
applies to one ethnic group, right? I mean, how can that be remotely acceptable to anybody?
I'd have to go look at. I'd have to go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Chad. Like, we've seen Anna talk about Russia, Ukraine. We've seen her talk about Gaza, Palestine. We see her talk about Iran. I mean, I'm just saying, like, Anna, I'm just saying, man, it's kind of crazy.
Look at that legislation, but ultimately, I mean, this is what they voted for. So it's their internal affairs and their sovereign state. And
yeah, and you know what? We're perfectly entitled to call it.
After what happened on October 7, I can see why there's a lot of passion around this situation.
Okay, Alec has dropped off. I don't know why. I wish people wouldn't do that, or at least say they're going to do it. Oh, it's technical issues. All right, I hope it was. Anna.
May I jump in? Thank you, Piers.
Final point to you.
I appreciate that. So, look, in regard to that law that just passed in Israel, it isn't just the fact that it goes along with the existing apartheid state of Israel, where Palestinians are treated as subhumans. It's also the fact that Palestinians are tried in these kangaroo courts, basically military courts, that have a 96% conviction rate. And often these so-called...
Chat, they said Trump's floating the idea of firing Pam Bondi, man. I'm expecting her to probably resign this week. If they're coming out saying he's floating the idea of firing her, she'll probably be gone this week, chat. I want to know, chat, should Pam Bondi stay or go, man? Should Trump fire Pam Bondi, man? Pam Bondi, stay or go, chat? Let me know down in the comments. Double tap the screen, chat. Let's get the 300 likes right quick.
Admissions of guilt are secured under duress, under torture. And so a lot of innocent people are going to be hanged. And that's the whole point of the law that just passed. That's why the terrorists within the Knesset, the Ben Gavirs, the Bezalel Smotriches, they were celebrating specifically because of the fact that they know that they're going to have some legal path to justify the slaughter of more innocent Palestinian individuals. That's what's going on. And can we just have Aaron say one last thing? Because Aaron's reporting on what happened to a toddler, a Palestinian toddler, who was detained alongside his father in central Gaza is something that people really need to know about. Aaron, can you just briefly talk about that? Because I want people to know about what's going on.
Hannah, you're giving me too much credit because I haven't really done anything on this, but I do know the basic fact that there was a toddler seized in central Gaza along with his father, and he came back with burn marks. And the doctor says
the last report I saw about this. Sorry, the last thing I said was that was erroneous, that reporting, and it was denied, and then the verified reporting came back. I think that it was not true.
Okay, well, I haven't seen that. But
Well, you know what? I think we'll look into it. My understanding is
the point is Israel slaughtered thousands of Palestinian children. The Washington Post actually
we're moving into a different.
Has a list of.
Okay, but we're moving into a different.
I'm saying this is totally.
I wish you guys cared this much about.
I don't want to move into other more general arguments about it.
They do care. They're getting slaughtered right now. They're getting slaughtered right now. They're getting slaughtered right now. Right now. Okay? Because of what you want. Because of what you want.
All right.
Because of what you want. You're disgusting.
You know, it shouldn't be mandatory that in the last 3 minutes of every uncensored debate, a member of the Young Turks team comes on. You all lose your shit. It is possible.
How could I not?
Well, it is possible to end on a more civilized manner and just accept
it's really difficult.
Well, you have different opinions, you know. That's why I get everybody on with different opinions. But we should never lose our basic sense of... We shouldn't lose our sense of civility when we debate things.
No, Anna's not crashing out. I mean, she is, but... Seeing Anna go on, seeing Chink go on, Pierce is alluding to her like every last time the minutes of the Young Turks is going to crash out. Like, this is getting clips, man. This is clips. These are for the shorts. These are for the short form content, man. Anna's going to clip it up, tag Pierce Morgan. You know, it's the culture we're in, man. Clip form.
Things. Because that way
I'll do my
madness
best
lies.
next time.
Anyway.
Not saying she doesn't believe in what she's saying, but that's definitely clip forming.
It's always good to have you. Thank you to my panel. I appreciate it. And to Elika, who apparently was tech issues. Well, joining me now is the Palestinian political leader, Dr. Mustafa Barghouti. Welcome back to Uncensored. I just want to read what you published on X. You said the Israeli Knesset's approval of a law allowing the execution of Palestinian prisoners is a racist, fascist and dangerous escalation that directly threatens thousands of Palestinian detainees and further entrenches Israel's apartheid system and policy.
All right, chat, let's get into this Tucker Carlson.
Important. They think it's important that they don't just go invade Iraq, but that they convince you first that he's got nuclear weapons and he's in bed with the terrorists and they're, you know, whatever Condoleezza Rice said, we don't want the warning to be in the form of a mushroom cloud from the bomb that doesn't exist. His terrorist friends who he hates, who he's not friends with at all. But so now we're in this new world and it's very exciting as someone who's a part of it. And it's an exciting moment to be alive, but it is certainly a dangerous one. You know, they say the most dangerous time for a woman to leave the most dangerous time for an abused woman is when she tries to leave. Yeah. Right? Like that's when he might kill you. And that's kind of how I feel about the government right now.
I think that's so, first of all, so well put and also so true because it can't actually last that much longer because the disparity in power is too great. So I think a lot of people who have podcasts, I've been in so many different kinds of media. It's hard to remember what this one's called. It's podcasting. It's the same, you know.
Sure. It's a kind of silly term that doesn't really make sense.
It doesn't.
We don't have iPods anymore. No. I don't know why. That one just stuck for whatever reason.
It's so true. But people who have, you know, in independent media feel like they have a lot of power. Oh, I've got so much power. They have no power. They don't control the medium, really. They don't control YouTube.
No.
They don't have the FBI at their disposal. They don't have nuclear weapons. So actually, they are powerless. And through a quirk of history, because we're in a change moment, that's not obvious, but it has to be obvious. There's too much at stake, right?
Yeah, there was a...
Don't they have to be crushed?
I think it was the CNN lady. She used to work for Vice, I believe, but the girl who was like known for interviewing like the alt-right figures, and she interviewed Tim Dillon.
Shout out to you, Big Cat. Shout out to you, Big Cat, for your first YouTube short today.
Last year, and it was right after Trump won his election, or shortly after, and she said, you know, something like, you guys are the real the power center now, you know. And she's like, yeah, you podcasters, you guys are the ones with power, because I guess, well, okay, more people watch these shows than watch the traditional shows, and Trump came and did a bunch of them, and then he won re-election, and Kamala Harris was too scared for wisely. People say that was a real mistake. She should have done Rogan. No, it wasn't. It was a really good call. It was a really, really good call by her team to not do Rogan, actually. It's like after 2016 when they were like, what, you know, Hillary Clinton's campaign is so stupid. She didn't visit Wisconsin more. And you're like, you really think they're that stupid? No, her numbers went down every time she went. So they were like, stop going.
They didn't like her. That's why she didn't go.
It was actually her best chance was that. But anyway, so they say, oh, you guys, since you guys got President Trump elected, you're the real power center now. And it's like, pretty sure the CIA still has a little bit of power. I think there's still like a little bit hanging on in the Pentagon. I'm not quite sure. It's all in Theo Vaughn's hands at this point, But
No,
yes, so that's the dynamic.
So it can't continue. I mean, let's be totally honest. What everyone forgets about Tank Man and Tiananmen Square is like, we don't even know what happened to him. We don't know his name. Probably crushed by the tank, actually.
Almost certainly, yes.
Yeah. I'm not laughing. I am laughing because just the delusion that people have. I've got a voice. It's like, no.
Well, but that's the weird, it's very strange for both these things.
Big Cat, when it comes to making videos, you should do whatever you're comfortable doing. Whatever you can stay consistent with. And then you'll be able to adjust. Whether you make a new channel, whether you switch that channel up, you just start. Whatever you're comfortable doing and can be consistent with, do it every day.
Things to be going on at the same time. That's why I said to you at breakfast, my analogy is on the Roadrunner cartoons, when you run off the side of the cliff, but you're still in air for a moment, and then you look down and realize, it's like we're there. Like, how can you keep doing this? So those people, I mean, and obviously for me personally, like, it's kind of fascinating because I've been in this world, and over the last 2.5 years or so, I've done, I mean, like, if you count like all the, debates and the Pierce Morgan debates or Oxford style debate, I've done like 35, 40 debates on, just Israel or the warfare state or whatever it is, Ukraine, a lot of these things. And I've never, it's like the side, broadly speaking, because there's a lot of differences amongst people who disagree with, say, the war in Iran, or U.S. support for Israel destroying Gaza. But broadly speaking, it's not only like we've won the debate, we've like just crushed the, and it's not just me, there's lots of people involved in this, you more so probably than anyone. But when you see, like, you look at the polls, there was this one poll I saw, and this is just one poll, but there's a lot that back this up, but that it was before October 7th, they'd ask, who do you sympathize with more, the Israelis or the Palestinians? And it was plus 48 for the Israelis.
Yeah.
It's now plus 1 for the Palestinians. And
in the U.S.
In the U.S. And to just think, so basically a 50-point shift in a little over 2 years. And Tucker, I mean, I don't know, you were doing this for longer than me. When does that ever happen? When does any issue ever swing by 50 points in 2 years? It would be like if I were to tell you in 2 years this country would be 95% pro-life. You'd be like, it's like, whoa, what happened in those 2 years? Yeah. Well, I mean, the pro-lifers must have really won the argument. You know what I mean? Like, and so now that we've had, for the first time ever, a media environment where, say, Israel is not completely protected. Like, what were the debates about supporting Israel on MSNBC or CNN? No, they don't exist. They never happen. You're not allowed to have those debates there. There's not, maybe like one kind of critical of Israel host will slip in here or there, but if he says too much, he's getting fired pretty quickly. And so we essentially won the debate. It's not close. It's not. There's not a question
so
of
fast.
Yes, in a very short period of time, because there was actually a fair, open media system now, where it was really democratized in a way, and so you can't look at you're bigger than you've ever been before. Candace Owens is bigger than she's ever been before. I know I'm bigger than I've ever been before. Ben Shapiro is weaker and more of a laughing stock than ever before. Like, it's just very odd. But then, at the same time, who won the policy game? Mark Levin. The president is tweeting, go watch Mark Levin's show today. And his base, his voters are going, I think I'll check out Tucker Carlson. I think I'll. And so, So anyway, there's just this very weird thing where, like, we won the argument. We had the national debate. We won. And yet we're at war with Iran on behalf of Israel. And I think what you're getting at is, like, that does just feel totally unsustainable. Like, there's either you got to clamp down on these guys like us, or you got to reverse the policy. And I'm really hoping it's the latter.
So the weather is warming, which means grilling is.
All right, chat. Everybody hit the like button, chat.
Because Donald Trump, first of all, it'd be very difficult at this point, even if he wanted to just stop the thing, which I think he does at this point, want to stop the thing. I think it seems to me like he believed this could be quick and easy like Venezuela, and we're way past that at this point. But he can't just stop now. But obviously, there's the Iranians and the Israelis are involved in this too, and it doesn't seem like either of them want to stop right now. No. So there you got a big problem. But also, look, this isn't Venezuela. There's I don't know what the latest CENTCOM numbers are. I thought 13 dead Americans was the last I saw. The 150 plus wounded number came out weeks ago. I don't know what that's up to now. Our bases and in the region have been very badly damaged. The damage to the global economy is so it's not Venezuela. You can't just come out of this and then pretend something really great happened. If he stops right now, then it's like, oh, you just started a disaster for no reason on behalf of a foreign country. Like, this is just awful. And then there's a couple factors. I've seen this play. I know you've seen this over the years, certainly during the global war on terrorism, where there is, I guess, what you could call like the sunk cost fallacy of war, which is the worst of all sunk cost fallacies. But it's you go, well, those boys died for nothing if we don't finish the job. And it's like, oh man, is that a bad trap to get into? Because the reality is that those boys died for nothing. That's over. And if you continue this, more boys will die for nothing. That's correct. And so no one, Piers Morgan had a panel once, or a debate between Scott Horton, who is as you know, you've had him on the show, the most incredible foreign policy guy in the country, like just unbelievable levels of brilliance. And his books, Enough Already, Fool's Errand, which are about the global war on terrorism, are the best books written on the subject. His book Provoked about the war in Ukraine is the best book written on the subject.
They're literally exhaustive. I only know Scott Horton because of you and what improvement to my life.
Yeah, I mean, he has been such an incredible resource. Like, he's a great friend of mine, one of my closest friends, but he's also he's like my mentor in the foreign policy stuff. And he's just so great because he's such a tool because he's got a photographic memory. So like, I can literally just call him at any point and you'll just be like, when Iran invaded Iraq in 1980, in 1982, weren't they fighting here? And then he'll just be like, yeah, they were fighting here and here. And then this guy has all their names and everything. It's really incredible. But so he was debating Wesley Clark on Piers Morgan's show. Talk about the new media world that we live in and how crazy it is now that Scott Horton gets to square off with a 4-star general. And Wesley Clark, who, look, I have my issues with him, but he did give us that great admission about the 7 countries in 5 years. So I'll always kind of be grateful to him. Now he tries to walk that back, but we all heard what you said. But he goes at one point talking about, I believe it was Gaza, if I'm getting this correct. He said this was while it was still, intensely going on. And he goes, but if we just leave now, then Hamas gets to say they won. And you're like, sir, general, that's your opinion on war? Yeah. But that's a recipe to be in forever war always. We can't ever leave anywhere. So what happens is you get this thing where it's like, there's the sunk cost fallacy. We can't leave now because we have to win. And then Donald Trump is now, of course, he put his entire presidency on the line for this, which was really foolish. And so now he's got to get a win. Let me get a win, and then I can get out, So let's do a big thing. But then you do a big thing, and they respond with a big thing. And then you go, shoot, now we got to respond to that thing. And this is the escalation trap, right? Like that. And this was what people like me and you have been talking about for years. And all the war hawks in the country really enjoyed mocking me and you for the last 7 months or whatever it's been, from between the 12-day war and this latest war in Iran, going, oh, you guys were acting like this was going to be a disaster. And look, it wasn't a disaster. Okay, we're back in it now, and it's a disaster. And precisely 0 of those people are going, oh, I guess I was wrong about that.
No, they'll be clamoring for you to be arrested and imprisoned.
Yeah.
Of course, right. Because your existence is a mark of shame because you remember, right? Yeah. So anyone who remembers has to be taken off the board. I'm just interested, I never think about, you know, those people, the Mark Levin. I say a prayer for Mark Levin every day because it's my religion. I'm supposed to, but he's not. I mean, Mark Levin's an idiot. He's not pulling any strings. He's a tool of larger forces here. What I'm fascinated by are the assumptions that like ordinary non-Mark Levin Americans have about the United
Chat, over or under 1 month? How long does this war last? Over or under 1 month? How much longer will this war last? Over or under 1 month? We're 11 likes away from 300, chat. Let's get to 300 likes. We're also 20 subscribers away from the next sub goal, man. Over or under 1 month, chat. Hit the like button. Double tap the screen.
United States, the nature of power, history that allowed us to make the greatest mistake of my lifetime, which is this war. What are those? And a lot of this has to do with the Second World War.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we're reading the wrong lessons into that. And I just want to say for the 100th time, I'm the opposite of pro-Nazi. I'm against authoritarianism in all its forms. But why is it that we look at the Second World War and then make a bunch of false assumptions that get us into engagements like this that hurt us?
Well,
what is that? What are the myths?
Well, I think the way I look at it, right, and this is, you know, I've defended Daryl Cooper quite publicly, quite often for what he said on your show, which really, it was, by the way, it's so revealing and totally proves his point, the response to that. Because there's just no reason why that should have been such a huge thing, you know, but like the thing is that
hey, Daryl Cooper, did Hitler kill a lot of Jews? Yeah, he did. He did like hours of podcasts on it.
Yes.
Of course Hitler killed a lot of Jews. I mean, what? That's not even
He just put out episode 2 of his new series on World War II, which I have not. I heard the first one. I've not gotten a chance to listen to the second one yet. But the first one's so good. They're all so good.
It's not really about that. I don't think any sane person, I've never heard anybody in my life say Hitler didn't kill a ton of Jews or Hitler like loved the Jews. No, Hitler hated the Jews, killed a ton of Jews. That's bad. Everyone agrees with that. It's not really the Holocaust that they're mad about. That's not.
Well, look, I mean,
it's the number. Like I just said, when I asked everybody earlier, if we're going to talk about Palestine, we're going to talk about these other conflicts, the numbers are being debated in all of these atrocities.
The threat.
Right.
So most people don't wake up in the morning and decide to feel.
Damn, Tucker getting money, chat.
Raise the standard of living in a meaningful way, in very basic, you know, ways. And also there was the abolition of slavery, which just would have seemed like that was the way of the world for all of human history. And I'm saying that.
Y'all want to know what I got in the snack tray tonight, man? Essence, those were some Oreos, but I got some fruit roll-ups and fruit by the foot. And some peanut butter crackers, man. That's the snack array for the night.
Abolition of slavery in the West. Obviously, there were other parts of the world that still had it. Yeah. But, and the Industrial Revolution was in the West also. So, you know, but these amazing things happen.
Join the Discord, Big Cat. We'll point you in the right direction.
And then in the 20th century, we take that industrial capacity to go to total war with each other. And in the case of the First World War, just over nonsense. I mean, over a political assassination.
It's not even clear.
Yeah, it's not like somehow this thing spins into this catastrophe. But so after World War II, that's even bloodier than World War I, which was supposed to be the war to end all wars. And it wasn't. It was the war to create the conditions for the worst war in human history. And of course, as you've talked about and gotten a lot of heat for, civilians were targeted on all sides. Now, of course, we didn't go genocidal in the way that Adolf Hitler went, but we targeted cities when we knew the military was out, you know, targeting women and children, dropping nuclear bombs on cities. And so, and
Thanks,
also,
Too Strong. Thanks,
the
Lala.
kind of the military industrial complex, the national security apparatus were truly created in the aftermath of World War II. Like there were intelligence, but the CIA is created, and the form of government that we actually live under was kind of erected during and after World War II. And so you've got the most profoundly awful thing that's ever happened, and this new government plus a new government in Israel a couple years later that are created. And so when you have something like that, you really got to tell yourself a damn good story about.
What's up with it, Janky?
why that is justified. And that's not, when you say this, sometimes people go, oh, so are you saying the Holocaust didn't really happen? It's like, no, it really happened.
It's not about
it really
the
happened.
Holocaust.
The point is that, yes, the point is that the
Chad, do you agree or disagree with the idea of soldiers not going into Iran if America goes? They're saying they're fighting an 8-front war right now. If America goes into Iran, they will not be putting boots on the ground. Do you agree or disagree?
The Holocaust happened in a context of 60 million people dying. You know what I mean? Like
it's just so funny. It's all reduced to the, okay, just to be totally clear, not denying the Holocaust. Okay. It's not about that.
Yeah.
The immediate post-war changes that you just listed, the deindustrialization of the West, the partition of India, the creation of the national security state, if I could say, an authoritarian national security state in the West, delivering half of Europe to the Soviets.
Yeah.
The partition of Germany. Like, these are all the genocide of German civilians after the war.
Mass ethnic cleansing, mass rapes and murders and all types of horrible stuff.
So none of it's not a defense of Hitler, whom I oppose, to say all of those are bad. Yeah. It's just kind of interesting that this war, which is...
I didn't ask y'all if y'all don't want boots on the ground. I asked y'all if boots are put on the ground and the IDF decides not to go out to Iran. Do you agree or disagree with that decision? And I referenced them saying that they're fighting an 8-front war right now.
Supposedly so great, gave birth to things that are just objectively the worst things.
Yeah, and
what is that?
Well, look, I mean, it's a disaster of government, total power, and but look, even like if you say like if you're talking about the Revolutionary War, like let's just say like back in the 1980s or something, like it's a school teacher's teaching kids about the Revolutionary War, they don't go like, well, the King of England was taxing a little bit more than he should. And then the framers kind of had these wild conspiracy theories about what he was going to come do. None of that was really true. And anyway, they got into they tell you George Washington never told a lie. And when he chopped down the apple tree, he said to his pa, I can't lie to you. Because like human beings just need this narrative.
Of course.
That makes. And so what ended up happening was that when you challenge World War II orthodoxies, you're challenging what Darrell calls the load-bearing myths, the load-bearing pillars of the existence of the most powerful forces in the world. And, look, it's very clear. Like, again, the reaction to Darrell is the proof of the claim. Like, what is this? If somebody were to say, this is how you find out what the national religion really is. I could sit here and trash Thomas Jefferson for raping his slaves.
Doesn't matter what you say.
It doesn't matter. This isn't going to generate any outrage at all. In fact, it might generate some applause from in different quarters. And so, but you talk about this, and it's very, very different. And then, as we've all seen, it's used to justify every subsequent war. I mean, like everybody is
to
Hitler.
justify authoritarianism.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody is Adolf Hitler. I've lived through it's Saddam Hussein was Adolf Hitler, Noriega was Adolf Hitler, Bashar al-Assad is Adolf Hitler, Vladimir Putin's Adolf Hitler, you're Adolf Hitler, Nick Fuentes is Adolf Hitler. Like every time they want to smear someone, that's the smear they go with. Donald Trump got the same treatment. And anytime you oppose a war, well, you're Neville Chamberlain. If I think like, hey, we should just put in writing that we'll never bring Ukraine into NATO because, man, this is causing all these problems. Okay, Neville Chamberlain, you would have just given Czechoslovakia. It's like, dude, that's not the only lesson in history. The only lesson in history is not always go with aggression, never go with de-escalation. But so that's kind of what this has been turned into. And I do think...
But I would just say big picture, if it was such a victory... why are all the winners falling apart less than 100 years later?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Again, shut up, you're pro-Hitler for the 5th time. Not pro-Hitler in any sense.
Yeah. Well, no,
what's the answer to that question?
Well, there was a brilliant philosopher named Rosie Perez, and in the film White Men Can't Jump, she said, sometimes when you win, you really lose.
Yeah.
And
That
you
is
know,
the
it
truest
is
thing.
it is such a simple but very, very true statement. And there is something about, well, isn't it kind of interesting that the United States of America started as the experiment in restrained government, right? Like there had really never been a government that was created that was so restrained. And the whole idea of it was like, we're going to take the power of a king and then we're going to scatter that amongst 3 different branches in the federal government. And the federal government really only oversees all these state governments that have their own autonomy.
All right, yeah, Chad. I can't have y'all in here looking at me dozing and shit, man. Listen, so I gotta shake back right quick. Hold on, man. I gotta shake back right quick.
And we are these United States of America. And even as we became more centralized, obviously the Articles of Confederation got overthrown and the Constitution gets put in, and then, you know, but even say, like, if you look after this, from the end of the Civil War, this was always the best stuff about like Milton Friedman books and stuff. But there, in this part, I really think those Chicago guys got it right. That if you look from the end of the Civil War, so like 1865 to...
Hey, Tony, you got me fucked up, Tony. Hey, Tony, you got me fucked up, man.
Around, say, 1910, okay? In this period of time, try to imagine that this was our government, okay? The U.S. government, the federal government spent like maybe like 1.5% or 2% of the national income, a tiny amount of spend. There was no mass federal regulation or anything like that. There was no central bank. There was no income tax. And just try to imagine, like, this was truly the closest to a real experiment in free market capitalism that humanity had ever seen. And the result of that was the biggest economic expansion in human history, the greatest raising of the lot and life of the average person, you know, like where the average person could actually have a pretty nice life and you could work.
Man, crazy. All right, chat. Hold on, let me make sure the thing cut the live off because somebody said, what the fuck? All right, chat, we still here.
Work at the factory and your wife didn't have to work and you owned a house and you sent your kids to college and you drove a couple cars, you played poker on the weekends with your buddy. Like, you had a good life.
Hey, Chad, we 3 likes away from 300. Let's smash past 300 likes right quick. I'm coming right back.
And if you look at the United States of America today, it is the most powerful government in the history of the world. Like, somehow this thing that started as an experiment in the smallest government became the biggest government that the world's ever known. And so there's almost something where, well, what happens is these free markets create so much prosperity that there's so much more of a tax base. And now the political class can tax you more and more and more, and you're still living a pretty good life, even though they're getting fat off of you. You know what I mean? And so similarly, sometimes something like after World War II, you see this with America, and then you really see it after the collapse of the Soviet Union, where it's like, because you win, you get so much power. But as Lord Atkins said, that power tends to corrupt. And so you get all this power, but then it totally corrupts your own soul. And I think that's kind of the story of America.
And I think it's the story of our lives. I mean, the number of men I know who've gotten what they wanted, what they worked for, the job, the exit, you know, sale of whatever they built, all of a sudden they win and then they fall apart. I've seen that so much. I felt it in my own life, by the way, for sure. You know, easy success is not good for you at all. Struggle is good for you. And so I wonder if the United States was hollowed out by its own victory, this loss, and unfortunately I think we can say already it's hard to imagine getting out of this without being diminished.
Yeah, I mean, what is a victory here? Right. I mean, you know, it's also a terrible situation where victory might be the worst case scenario. I mean, like, you know, like victory, like if the whole goal is to topple the regime, you're like, okay, but every other time we've toppled the regime in this neck of the woods, it's led to migrant crises and death and terrorism.
You can't top.
Hold on. I see this, but Amber, see, I see y'all arguing and I'm trying to figure out what y'all got going. But you said you guys are talking about destroying the Holy Land that is inside of the Bible and then parking your car there like it's funny and then think you're going to go back to God. Well, Amber, I mean, Gaza is part of the Holy Land. Gaza is a part of the Holy Land, and Gaza is kind of like a parking lot right now. And I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Topple a regime in the Persian Gulf because the world's energy supply needs to move through it. You have to extract it, refine it, make it into petrochemicals, do whatever you fertilizer, do whatever you want in the Persian Gulf, and then you have to get it out of the Persian Gulf. So that means you have to have a controlling authority. You have to have strong governments there, or else some rebel group, Houthis with drones, will shut the whole thing down. Yeah. You can't have chaos in Iran.
Yeah, they call it the Persian Gulf for a reason.
Exactly. Even if you call it the Arabian Gulf, the other half is Persian. It doesn't matter. Chaos in the Persian Gulf means no energy or fertilizer from the Persian Gulf, period. So you're going to piracy there. So the option to that is keeping an Iranian regime in place, and that means that Iran is more powerful than it was when the war started. Right. This is also obvious, unless you nuke them, which is, I think, an option. And then you set off a chain reaction that, is the worst thing imaginable.
Inflation makes credit card statements particularly scary. You work 40, 50 hours a week just to buy.
Tucker got them ads in
True.
that bad boy.
That maybe in your defeat, there are
hit the
things
like button. We 25 likes away.
Every time I've gotten sick or gotten fired, I understand the world better and I become more joyful and stronger. Do you feel that?
Yeah, no, I know for sure.
All right, Chad, have you ever gotten fired in your lifetime? Have you ever gotten fired? I'm talking about 20, 30 years ago or whenever. Have you ever been fired in your lifetime? I'll go first. Yes, Chad, I have been fired here.
Many times in my life, and you learn a lot more from your losses.
Yeah, your defeats are actually your victories in
that's
retrospect.
Right. That's right. But the problem is just we're just playing with fire with this thing because it's so dangerous. It's
What worries you most?
Well, I guess I'd say number one, what we're doing to those people over there. I think is just horrible. And I don't say this as I'm not trying to virtue signal that I care so much more than other people, but when your government takes your money and just starts slaughtering people in poor countries compared to us, it's just so profoundly
What you
wrong.
do to others will be done to you.
Yeah,
that's a physics principle. You can't get away from that. So that's just true.
Well, imagine there was a guy who was a convicted pedophile, and he had molested a bunch of Iraqi children or a bunch of Iranian children. And then you were like, well, I'm going to have him babysit my kids. He only does it over there. You know what I mean? You're like, what? No, dude. He's hurt children. You can't let him anywhere near your children.
Right.
Okay, well, these same monsters in government are the ones who are ruling over me and my family and my country. Right. And the idea that you just go kill I know I said this on Rogan's show the other day about the school that we hit where he killed 165 or 170 little girls, and then people give me shit. Those numbers haven't been verified. That's just the claim of the Iranian government. He goes, well, our government's not denying it. And in fact, they did an investigation and concluded it was almost certainly us. It was a Tomahawk missile. What's the question here? We know where this came from. The only question left is who gave it that coordinates or did it miss or was that intentional, whatever. But kill a whole bunch of 8-year-old girls? I mean, Jesus, man, is there anything more evil you could do than that? So just on a basic human level, there's this
Anyone
is horrible.
who would do that, I think it was clearly accidental, but I also think, having done a lot of accidental things, it's essential to apologize for it.
Yeah.
And anyone who doesn't apologize for it's a dangerous person.
Well, also
if you'll do that to them, you'll do it to my kids.
Yes, and it stretches the definition of accidental a little bit, because even if very specifically, we were trying to hit this building, but instead we hit this building, and there's a point I've been making largely through the Israel's destruction of Gaza, which was not that at all. They were just leveling the place. But you go, look, man.
Told you, Chad. A lot of them girls who are out there at volleyball practice playing down volleyball, man. Gone.
You start dropping bombs on people, you start blowing things up, and innocent people are going to end up dying in that. So in that sense, it is intentional, and maybe you didn't mean to hit that exact.
Oh, they got me up out of here, Chad. Damn. All right, Chad, hold on.
All right, you guys, happy Wednesday. I'm going to start the show by letting you know that there is a friendship that you need to know about. A very close friendship, one that has spanned across decades. The friendship goes back to 1976. That's very sweet, actually. I don't know many people that can say they've been friends with someone for over 50 years, but these two men can. They go way back to Boston, where the two of them worked.
Chad, we back yet? We back. We back, Chad.
Together. I mean, these two men, some might say, are ride or die, maybe even an emphasis on the die. Do you guys know who I'm referring to? Don't worry, because I'm about to tell you. Welcome back to Candace.
Man, these lights all in my face, Chad. I really don't want these lights in my face. That's why I was chilling behind, 10. We was chilling, kicked back behind 10, man. I ain't want these lights in my face. For real.
All right, you guys. This is Baron Coleman often says on his show that it's a high IQ outfit. You can't watch Baron Coleman's show unless you're high IQ. I have to extend that to tonight's show. You need notebooks. This is an AP class. This is now advanced placement, okay? This is advanced placement, Candace's podcast. So one of the things that I have been...
You said there was... How was I asleep, Tony? I was still talking. You said, Mr. Plug, there was a guy singing earlier in the same voice. Yeah, that was probably me on my intro. I wasn't asleep, Tony, but I was fucking around and doze off in y'all face earlier.
Been perpetually haunted by, and I've explained this to you many times, is that final phone call that Charlie had with Bibi Netanyahu. The one that took place in the Hamptons, the one that nobody, while they were authoring these long-winded tweets explaining that we didn't do nothing, tweets that were overseen by lawyers and PR agents, no one wanted to address Bibi Netanyahu's call. Charlie described it, as I told you, as an intervention over the topic of Israel. Bibi offered, as I said, to take Turning Point to the next level. And what troubles me is not knowing the answer in exchange for what? I mean, how much money would it take to bring an organization that is already pulling in $100 million per year to the next level? And also, where was this money going to come from? How are they going to generate that sort of an income? How could they know they were going to make that kind of money? I have an idea that it may have been guaranteed from, like, war profiteering, war in Iran, particularly the issue that Bibi and Charlie were butting heads about. War, as I told you a couple of days ago, is a big business, not just a big business, the biggest business on earth. And it's also a overtly political business. Next thing we know, Charlie is dead. Turning Point USA is trying to twist and reimagine his legacy as pro-war in the Middle East, war in Iran, and Bibi is doing the most, right? Bibi is doing the rounds saying, I didn't kill him immediately, when no one initially thought that he killed him until he said he didn't kill him. Then we thought, did you kill him? It wasn't me, he said. But of course, as we thought further, I couldn't establish a connection between Bibi Netanyahu and Utah, right? Israel and Utah. Even though, as I began prodding the narrative of the Egyptian plains, it was revealed to me that there clearly is a connection to Israel and Utah. But why? How is this working? What's Bibi got to do with Provo? Does he have anything to do with Provo? Something was clearly missing, and then that something presented itself in the form of this lifelong friendship. Now, it would be difficult for me to overstate to you just how close Bibi Netanyahu is to Mitt Romney. Yeah, that Mitt Romney. the former senator of Utah, the one-time presidential nominee who ran against Barack Obama, the co-founder and the former CEO of Bain Capital. I mean, frankly, if I wanted to, I could do an entire series on his 50-year friendship with Bibi Netanyahu, their intense political support for one another, counseling to one another, a friendship which began, like I told you, back in 1976, when they were both working for the Boston Consulting Group. I mean, look, I'll just show you this quickly. This article in the New York Times back in 2012 says a friendship dating to 1976 resonates in 2012. And that is about, and it goes in and you should read it, about their remarkable friendship. Now, let's just keep that there. I want you to park that in the back of your mind. Romneys are a very powerful family in Utah. And I want you to park that information in the back of your mind, A, because I just can't believe I forgot it. It was somewhere, somewhere in a database, but it just, I guess, kind of evaded me for a bit. But as we go forward, this information is going to become increasingly relevant as we revisit various.
Man, it's like somebody when they follow the whole case, new evidence came out. We're gonna ask the chat. Chat, do you think Candace is dragging this? Chat, yes or no? Chat, is Candace dragging this?
Aspects regarding certain individuals on September 10th that we had mentioned. Let's at first go back to the hospital, okay? I'm told actually it's pronounced Timpanogos, okay? Timpanogos Hospital. It's always been very strange to me, the setting, increasingly strange to me that we have no eyewitnesses inside of the hospital regarding September 10th. I mean, just randos that should be in the ER lobby, right? All of Turning Point, the staff that was there that day went over to the lobby. Not everybody went into the back, but they were there, right? We're talking about an emergency room. People go there all the time. Your kid breaks in, everyone's racing in the emergency room. I'm not saying it needs to be like totally packed, but I'm saying there should just be a few strays hanging around that can tell me something about it. And as I reflect 6 months later, it's almost as if the emergency room had been completely cleared for Turning Point USA. We'll never know, of course, because when Kash Patel arrived, he had the FBI immediately seize the footage from inside the hospital. What a bizarre priority, right? Makes no sense. You got a manhunt, you're in the midst of a manhunt. Why would you grab footage of where Charlie was brought inside? I think if I was on Tyler Robinson's defense, I would probably want that footage. Yeah, I'd say you have that. I'd like to see it.
Chat, did y'all hear about the sheriff that stepped down? The sheriff that allegedly took Tyler Robinson to turn himself in and all of that Tyler confessed to? Did y'all see he resigned as of yesterday, chat? Let me know. Did y'all see that, chat? We're 25 likes away from the next like goal, chat. Let's smash through that next like goal. Double tap that screen. Share the live out, man. Let me know what y'all think, chat.
Anyway, journalist Elizabeth Lane, that's the one who has been positing that Erica Kirk is a psychopath. She did another long post the other day on X, and she was actually a journalist that was on the ground that day. She went to Utah Valley Hospital, and she sent her colleague over to Timpanogos, and they were just staging outside, waiting for something to happen. And she was sort of remarking about how odd it was that they had locked down both hospitals, something that I brought up to you, right? They locked down both hospitals. The excuse that was given to the public was because the shooter was going from hospital to hospital looking for Charlie Kirk. But you know what? That's never actually been clarified. Who exactly were they referring to? What we do know is that shortly after that came over, the police scanner, might be going from hospital to hospital, they moved to detain a young man named Zachariah Qureshi. We almost forget. But it was after Zachariah was detained that Kash Patel rather gloriously issued a tweet which effectively ended the manhunt prematurely. In many ways, we should start to think of Zachariah Qureshi as decoy boy number 2, okay? First, it was George Zinn, jumped up and down immediately and said, I did it, I did it. He would later tell people at Utah Valley, where he was being treated, that he was paid to do that. Wonder if the FBI is interested in that tidbit that I have said on the show. And I'm telling you that's what happened. That was the first time that the responding police officers who said they felt like they were intentionally being sent all around were sent essentially off of the trail of the true assassin. But next came the public declaration from our director of the FBI, which held a lot more weight, claiming officially that they had the guy. He wrote this at 4:21 p.m. Mountain Standard, so almost exactly 4 hours to the minute that Charlie was shot. Kash Patel authored this tweet. The subject for the horrific shooting today that took the life of Charlie Kirk is now in custody. Thank you to the local and state authorities in Utah for your partnership with the FBI. We will provide updates when able. Okay. Well, you imagine if you are a responding police officer and you see that the director of FBI has tweeted that, you just stop looking. Anything that looks shady, you don't care. Doesn't matter. I guess it's over. We got him. Great. Great news. And that's how it stayed for an hour and a half. Kash Patel's mistake provided the true assassin or the assassins an hour and a half buffer to get away. Police wrapping up. No reason to continue looking, right? Until finally at 5:59 p.m., he clarified, he announced on X that, oh, never mind. Here's what he said. The subject in custody has been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. Our investigation continues, and we will continue to release information in interest of transparency. Well done, Kash. Well done. Again, no further information was provided as to why this particular individual was detained in the first place. Who is this guy? Who is Zachariah Qureshi? I wondered. Also, is there any chance, I know it's crazy, but is there any chance there's going to be another military connection? Well, apparently I'm a little late to the party because I was talking to Baron Coleman this weekend and he's like, yeah, I did an episode on Zachariah Qureshi. You should check that out. And I would say this to you guys that you're not going to believe this, but you probably will. You probably will actually believe this. Zach's father, Zachariah's father, is actually an 06 in the military.
Nathan, I mean, immediately knew it wasn't a 30-06, Nathan, immediately.
You remember that term. I was getting familiar with it and fumbled over my words. Mitch Snow, he said he saw this meeting conclude with a bunch of 05s and 06s coming out of Fort Huachuca. Well, Ahmed Qureshi, that is Zachariah's father, he is an 06 in the Navy. That means he's a commanding officer. That's the equivalent to a colonel in the Air Force. And he has extensive ties to the Middle East as well, I might add. You might have gathered that from his name. But let's take a look at Ahmed's LinkedIn because it is relevant. Again, this is Decoy Boy number 2's dad.
Tyler turned himself in, but the sheriff that he turned himself into resigned. And Tyler also has not admitted to it. He turned himself in, but why is he going to trial then? Why is he fighting the case? If he turned himself in and he's guilty, why are we even having these proceedings? Why didn't he went in court and said, hey, I'm guilty? On top of the sheriff that turned them in stepping down, on top of the fragment not being able to match the gun, I'm just saying.
Okay, let's check this out. It lists Ahmed first and foremost, as you can see here, as the president and COO of Built Incorporated.
You said you have to have a trial. No, you don't. You can sign for life. I know people right now that sign for life before. You do not have to have a trial. What are you talking about? You can sign for life.
Which is based.
Now, maybe because the death penalty up here, something, I don't know, but you can sign for life. I've seen people sign for life.
Based in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Now, I just want to honorably mention here.
Hell yeah, and when you sign for life, you can't appeal it. When you sign for life, you can't appeal it. If they give you life, you can appeal it. You got a chance. You sign for life, it's over with.
That Texas seems to be a very common theme in this investigation. I think by now we all suspect, given the planes traveling that day, also the planes the day before from Fort Huachuca, that there may be a Texas play in Charlie Kirk's assassination, just like there was a Texas play in JFK's assassination, I might add. The CIA ran that operation out of Texas. Anyway, what does Built Incorporated do? That's interesting, right? It tells us that the award-winning Built app provides 3D interactive and XR immersive intelligent instructions that are voice and text guided. Beginning with a product overview, Built includes tools that are required, parts included, and gently directs the procedures step by step. So we have some sort of an intelligence app that is 3D and immersive that can be used. Okay, so what does that mean? And more importantly, what does it mean in the context of a man who has spent 26 plus years in the military? Again, Ahmed Qureshi is currently a commanding officer in the military. We can see that by clicking through to his profile. He's an 06, which means he's not a small cheese, okay?
What's up, Drew?
Right there on his profile, it lets us know that he is the commanding officer, the headquarters of the East Coast. I don't know what the RC stands for, continental U.S. It tells us he's a captain and that he, it has all the dates here from May 2024 to present. You can see he's been in 06 for a while. Previously, he was in 05. Now, since the military is not a past life, but a current life for Ahmed, we can assume that whatever he's doing for Built does not conflict with his job in the military.
All right, Van here, then 777. We'll see you, man. This crowd is very diverse. People feel how they feel over here. It's a lot of different thoughts, a lot of different opinions, man.
In fact, we can further assume that Built is somehow related to his job in the military, because his LinkedIn also informs us that Ahmed co-founded Built back in 2015 when he was full-time as an 05. So Built's been a company for a decade. And you should know that this company receives funding from the Department of Defense, okay? Contracts from the Department of Defense. And curiously enough, Built received a large injection of cash, over $7 million, to be more exact, at a very interesting time. And I'm going to let Baron Coleman explain to you their curious pattern of federal funding that came in for Built from its inception to today. Take a listen.
This is the company that Zachariah Karash.
All right, I'll tell y'all the story. Actually, it's a little crazy, chat. So this is a story, man. I was locked up with a couple of these people. So basically, it's one dude, he's a little, you know what I'm saying, we'll say mentally challenged, it's a girl involved, and then it's a couple other people. Long story short, they were going over here buying this woman's medication. They were getting the medication from the woman, taking advantage of her, not paying her what, market rate is. So 1 month she got her medication and was like, you know what, F y'all aren't getting my medication. So they ended up stabbing her to death. They unalived her. So the slow dude, I was locked up with him. The slow dude, he wasn't there. He was never on the scene. He was at home, sleep. The girl, his girlfriend, was over there with him. She was involved. She comes home and lays down in the bed with him and goes to sleep after they just unalived this woman. So boom. Now the next day the police get involved. She still got the same jacket on or whatever. They get taken down to the police station. They take the phones as evidence, and her jacket still has some blood on it. So the other people ended up getting picked up too, and one of the main dude, he ended up signing for life. I don't know if he signed for life so the other people could say they didn't have nothing to do with it or whatever, but I don't know, man. All of them weren't wrapped too tight.
Qureshi's father works for. This is Built. I'm getting this directly off of USA Spending, right? USA Spending has all the federal expenditures that they can legally put up here or on here to contractors. This is Built. They get their first little contract is a $50,000 contract way back in.
And then, Chad, what's even crazier is the dude that was, a little mentally challenged. And the girl that tried to, that came home and laid in the bed with him, they were in the same jail. So they was writing each other in jail talking about it. And I'm telling him, like, bro, they read all of these letters. Like, the letter got to leave the jail and then come back in here. And I told him to quit writing her. I was like, bro, just quit writing her. And then he kept writing her. And I remember he used to let me read all his mail to her because I'm telling him, like, bro, quit writing her. And she flipped the script on him. She was like, yeah, you unalived that woman. You did that. You need to come take your charge so I can get up out of here and shit. And I noticed dude is a little, mentally challenged. So I'm like, damn, she really finna throw this shit on him. And even when you read the paperwork, like his phone, I believe he was at home. Like, he's saying he never went over there that day at all. I kind of believe him.
2019. 2019, they just get a little $50,000 contract. It's got a 3-month pop period of performance, just 3 months, $50,000, but it gets them going, right? They're off the ground running. Then they get this next contract here, and it's big, $3.1 million. This $3.1 million contract was all the way back in 2020.
We got a bunch of prisons out here. Tony. Um, 14 to 16 state run. They say it's 14 to 16 state run.
So after that, we're going to show you here the timeline just because it'll get you there. After 2020, we've got a series of contracts here that frankly just aren't that big. I mean, they're big. They're big for like a single family income, but if you're trying to run a business, they're not huge. We've got 185,000. We've got 49,000. But we get this big $3.1 million contract way back in 2020. And then we got just a series over the next few years of smaller contracts. Just a little 1 million, but again, nothing major, nothing crazy. Until this one, boom, 4.9, 2.4. Well, when the hell were these contracts? When were these contracts? I'll tell you what, I'll be really suspicious if these contracts were in the planning phases of the Charlie Kirk event at Utah Valley University. I'll be really suspicious because we said the Utah Valley University event was probably beginning to be planned around June. The exiting of Charlie Kirk from this mortal
Chat,
plane,
hit the like button, man. We 30 likes away.
Based on our investigation, started around March or April and really heated up in June and July. So when were these massive $7.5 million worth of contracts on a company who had not had much more than one single contract of any value in the previous 4 or 5 years? When was this one? Let's look here. It's these, I'll make it the top 2 lines. Let's look together and see when these 2 contracts were. Up June 1 and June 16 of 2025. June 1 and June 16 of 2025.
And also the top one as well. I can show you here on the website that the BILT was awarded that money from the Department of Defense, particularly from the Air Force. The majority came in from the Air Force, $7.4 million from the Air Force and just under $250,000 from the Navy, bringing the total actually closer to $8 million that came in to them in June of this year. And it's about to get even more interesting. This is me building on what Barron researched, and I wish I had seen this earlier, because Ahmed, remember, Zachariah's dad, he's listed as a co-founder of BILT. Who did he co-found this with? Who is his business partner? Who's the other half of this intelligence app that got a nice injection of cash from the Air Force in June? That would be a man named Nathan Henderson. And don't worry, guys, I, of course, will have a graphic for you at the end so you can screenshot and save it and study it, and it will look really clean.
Oh, I remember her talking about that
you
man.
know these names. Because when I learned that Nathan Henderson was the co-founder, I suddenly realized that there was a weird crossover. Because I had looked into Zachariah Qureshi, And I remembered the name Nathan Henderson living in the same house as him.
I
Like they were
remember her
all
talking
living in the
about it.
same house down in Keller, Texas. Both the Henderson family
No, I
and the
don't.
Qureshi family. Now, it's possible the business owned the company, something, vacation rental, I don't know. I mean, they do live in Texas. It's also possible maybe the Hendersons sold the house to the Quereshis or vice versa. But what is not up for debate is that both families were living in the same house down in Keller, Texas. And that Nathan Henderson, the co-founder, is married to a woman named Gina Romney. Okay? Gina Romney Henderson is relevant because she too works at the Built Corporation. She's the vice president of their user experience. You can see that here on her LinkedIn. And they also have a son, a young man named Connor Henderson. Connor went to the same school at the same time as Zachariah Qureshi's. So their sons go to school together. To put it to you another way, the co-founders of the Built Company, who lived in the same house and work at the same place, also sent their sons to the same school at the same time, BYU. Okay? They graduated within a year of one another. And their sons both interned at the Built Company. Now, my suspicion is that Connor and Zachariah probably know each other, and you're never going to guess where Connor was working this summer, right? Connor had been working as an emergency room department scribe. I can confirm. Go ahead. Timpanogos Emergency Room. Okay, now, in case you are unaware of what an emergency room scribe does, they are essentially the physician's personal assistant in charge of taking notes and handling the charting and clerical work for the doctors in that emergency setting. That was Connor's job from 2024 until, and that's only if his LinkedIn is to be believed, just before Charlie's assassination, or maybe even just after Charlie's assassination. I'm wondering if he actually quit on September 10th. I'm wondering if he was working beneath Dr. Lee Trotter. It's a lead that should be pursued. Anyway, it's time to show you guys a nice, clean chart. Since we are pulling together a lot of new names, it will help you visually see these connections to the Built Corporation, Built Incorporated, pardon. So you can see this. Also, I should mention Gina Romney also went to BYU. BYU keeps coming up, and I'm about to drop some bombshells for you about BYU's connection to Israel in particular. Anyways, do you know what regarding Miss Gina Romney? I have to tell you guys, that is the third time in this investigation that the Romney name has come up. I hadn't spoken about it before because I just thought, well, it's the Romney family. They're big in Utah. That's not that weird, until I realized how close Mitt Romney was to Bibi Netanyahu. And I just found myself wondering, if they talked about Charlie at all. After he was really frustrated with Charlie over the Iran war, I found myself wondering. And then I realized that all of these connections to the Romney, I should probably share with you. And this very weird connection to BYU in particular. You're going to be shocked at what I learned about BYU. And I'm not going to say allegedly in this next portion because I know it for a fact. We're going to talk about the CIA and what they have to do with that Utah University when we get back from a brief break. All right, you guys, thanks to you last year.
Chad, do you think Charlie Kirk's assassination was an inside job? Chad, put inside if you think it was an inside job. Put no if you don't think it was an inside job, man. Let me know, Chad. Double tap the screenshot alive. I was 25 likes away from the next like goal. We got to keep hitting these like goals, Chad. We need y'all to wake up, man. Double tap that screen for me. I don't know what's going on. We got to hit them like goals.
Out. I see a lot of you guys in the chat noting that Tyler Robinson looks a lot like Connor. That was something that Barron pointed out, and people that watched this episode have pointed out as well. I'm just showing you factual pictures of the players, and I will leave it at the facts. Now, a fact is that the Romneys are an exceedingly powerful family in Utah, okay? I am talking generational power. Romney grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth, extraordinary amount of wealth. Everybody knows that. You speak to any person that lives in Utah, they will tell you that. And they're also extraordinarily powerful in Mexico as well. There was a Mormon colony that moved down there. And just put that in the back of your mind. Like I said, the Romney names come up in my research a few times, just like Texas was coming up in my research a few times. And so we have the Quereshis, the Hendersons that are coming out of Texas. Our planes are coming out of Texas. So did, I should mention, and here's where it gets interesting, our brand spanking new CEO of Timpanogos. Don't think I forgot about Andrew Zenger. Remember, he was appointed the CEO of Timpanogos just ahead of Charlie's assassination. It was August 19th. And curiously enough, before that, he was down in Texas. He had previously been working down in McKinney, Texas, as the COO of Medical City, which is north of Dallas. Oh, everyone just, I know Texas is big, but man, they all yanked and brought back up there.
McKinney,
yeah, that's what they did. Just like I said, ahead of September 10th. Now, of course, Andrew Zenger.
McKinney's a nice city, Chad. I like McKinney.
Just like Qureshi and Henderson and our Gina Romney, he attended BYU. And it really made me wonder, like, what the heck goes on at BYU? And fortunately, someone told me. Again, I am not saying allegedly here. So you can take this to the bank. BYU has direct ties to the CIA. They recruit directly from BYU. And I am saying this with 100% certainty. It is not a conspiracy. And what is even more odd is that they recruit specifically from BYU Jerusalem in Israel, which is exactly where Andrew Zenger attended school. He lived in Jerusalem. And I'm now going to tell you that BYU, the Jerusalem Center, this person told me, is where the elite of the Mormon culture, the cream of the pie, they get introduced to one another. It's where the elite Mormon youth are introduced to also the Knesset, okay? Hollywood culture, political culture, and where many of them are then approached in Jerusalem, Israel, by their teachers, who I should mention, the director of the program is Israeli, to work for the CIA. Could you imagine being approached to work for the CIA in Jerusalem by Israelis? Notice, again, I am not saying allegedly here. I know this for a fact. I cannot be sued for this. This is factual. Andrew Zenger was out there, and he was out there, I should mention, during Mitt Romney presidential election season. He was also good friends with a guy named Jeffrey Knuckles, who was out there as well, who later served as an advisor to the Romney campaign. He was also friendly, and a person that was out there was a guy named Caleb Cunningham, who was also an activist that worked for the campaign. Him, Caleb, and his brother were actually out there in Jerusalem. I want to, again, make it clear I am not shooting in the dark with this. In fact, I can tell you specifically what the name is of the company that the CIA uses to bring some of this youth talent on board. They specifically use a company, and this will trigger them if they're watching, called Metro One Talent. Metro One Talent. That's how they interview their talent and set them on the path to joining the CIA.
A
now
damn
there's one
agency.
more person
A talent agency.
who is tied to this clan. It's very strange. Why are we recruiting? The question is, was Andrew Zenger recruited? Okay, was Andrew Zenger recruited? I am telling you that his roommates were. He's got a roommate who did contract work, went on to do contract work for the CIA as well. For the CIA's Department of Education. I didn't even know the CIA had a Department of Education. I actually want to find that person's name just so you understand I have this as an absolute fact. What was this guy's name? They always switch it with his grandfather. I want to make sure, pull this guy's name up, who was Andrew Zenger's roommate, who went on to work for the CIA. Yes, Michael Sean Covey. That is correct. Sorry, Michael, to put you on blast, but yeah, he contracts with the CIA. It's very interesting. And he, I think, writes books. It's very interesting. It's a tangle. So you're rooming together. Is it a fair question? Is it a fair question to ask if Andrew Zenger was like his roommates over in Jerusalem, recruited to work contractually for the CIA? It's interesting. Now, there is one more person who is tied to the Romney clan who also went to BYU, and we brought him up very early in the investigation. He was one of the first people that I put an APB out for because he was bizarrely standing alongside Shane Lyman. Remember, we learned like Phil Lyman's whole family owned that block. You know, the cameras of people walking, they were all tied to Caldera Engineering, walking down the block. I don't even think that's Tyler Robinson. Looks to me much more like Lance. And Phil Lyman's nephew and or cousin, Phil Lyman says it's a cousin. Shaner says he's a nephew. But he and some friends uniquely traced the steps of the killer and showed people, this is the footprint. This is, look, he was here. This was on our property that this happened. Let's see those Instagram posts to jog your memory. You remember Robbie Hild. And I said, he looks, the guy all the way to the right there looks way more to me like the build of the person coming up the stairs. That was the episode that we did. Who are these people? We asked. Why is Robbie Hild? And why are they posting like they have exclusive access? What are the chances that this happened? Look, the footprint. That footprint is mentioned in the document yesterday. The footprint. It wouldn't be hard to make a footprint. You just take someone's shoe and do that. Anyways, like I said early on, I put on that APB. I put out that APB for Robbie Hild because we couldn't find his name at the time, and then we did. And I learned from viewers at home that his family is allegedly married into the Romney family. Okay? Now, I cannot find a document where I put this together and put in all the information of how Robbie Hild was married into the Romney family. I know across social media they were involved with the campaign. I need to now reestablish that connection. So I will again, because it seems I accidentally deleted that email. If you know how the Hild family is related to the Romney family, please email us at moretips@CandaceOwens.com. Because that would be a stunning connection. Like I said, my memory serves me correctly that there was a connection between these two families that was established early on that I thought nothing of. And now it matters. But what we know for certain is, like I said, Robbie, he also went to BYU. And he played lacrosse. He appears to have graduated around 2020. And I will leave it at that. But the investigation into Robbie Hild is now opened again. Now, I'm going to transition here because there's so much more that I have learned about how the CIA is paying these people, how they are approaching these people. You're not going to believe me, but the Sears company is also involved. And like I said, some people who are in the deep state are freaking out right now. They're freaking out because I've said Metro One Talent, I'm bringing up Sears, and I'm not saying allegedly. Like I said, I'm not saying allegedly. Someone has come forward with proof of that, and you can take all this information to the bank. But it's interesting that so many Romney campaign people during the time that his campaign was going on, this is like 2011 when Andrew Zanger's there and you've got advisors and all these people are stationed in Jerusalem. Was Bibi helping his friend? He certainly supported his friend. It's 50 years. They're like brothers, I imagine. Anyway, yesterday, to add, and this is going to be an ongoing investigation. This is part of the reason why we're going to do next week off. I told you we'll be taking 6 weeks on and 1 week off because this stuff requires so much research and investigation, and the team just needs to rest and receive emails. But I do want to mention one more thing to you about this obvious patsy set up with Tyler Robinson. Yesterday, we had mentioned to you that the FBI is bringing back a flawed technique out of retirement in this sort of desperate bid to connect Tyler Robinson's weapon to the alleged bullet that was used to kill Charlie Kirk. I forgot to tell you, however, that when they first began that technique, you're never going to guess when they started that technique, which ended up being flawed and unscientific. Check out this headline in the Washington Post from 2007. FBI's forensic test is full of holes. The article was...
Hey, chat, we're 3 subscribers away from 45,500. The next 3 subscribers get a shout out. Let me know when you subscribed and I'll give you a shout out, man. We're also 20 likes away from the next like goal.
Was on to say the science, which is known as comparative bullet lead analysis, was first used after President John F. Kennedy's assassination in 1963. The technique used chemistry to link crime scene bullets to ones that were possessed by suspects on the theory that each batch of lead had a unique elemental makeup. In 2004, however, the nation's most prestigious scientific body concluded that variations in the manufacturing process rendered the FBI's testimony about the science unreliable and potentially misleading. Specifically, the National Academy of Sciences said that decades of FBI statements to jurors linking
Thanks,
a particular
Cosmic.
bullet to those found in a suspect's gun
Thanks,
or cartridge
Rebecca.
box were so overstated that such testimony should be considered misleading under the federal rules of evidence. A year later, the Bureau abandoned the analysis. So the FBI came up with the
This is Candace putting some connections down in the Tyler Robinson case. She talked about how Mitt Romney and their family has a lot of close ties to certain people may be involved.
road chemistry because they needed to match a bullet in the JFK case. Oh my gosh, it's just so amazing. It's just amazing that they're bringing that back because Charlie is just lucky, I guess. Lucky that they're getting back into chemistry. Flawed technique. We're going to use it. Don't worry. The ATF says it's inconclusive, which is the best they could do. But we needed to do this in 1963, and we're going to do it again. And kind of maybe all the same players are involved because we all know who killed JFK. And it wasn't Lee Oswald Harvey. And a flawed analysis. And we're going to keep speaking about that flawed analysis that the FBI is now going to try to use because it's ridiculous. They know Tyler Robinson didn't do it. Now, speaking of the last name Robinson, I should mention that Robinson is also a last name, and that's why we will be taking a week off next week, is a last name that the Romney family is married into. Doesn't necessarily mean there is a tie. It's just interesting. Certainly the Hild family is married into the Robinsons as well. And so we need to become pretty much genealogists and trace everything and all of the connections. And I certainly recall that the Farnsworth family, which also has a ton of the Terrell Farnsworth Take Down the Camera family, similarly was a part of sort of the Mormon tribe that went down to Chihuahua, Mexico, because polygamy was illegalized. I think the backstory is legalized in the United States. And so they said, fine, we'll go start our own colony in Mexico, Chihuahua, Mexico. And that's where they went. And I know the Farnsworth family and the Romney family were part of the families that went down there. And so I need to do a lot of research now with a little more focus on these family ties that could potentially matter in a really big way. Really makes you wonder what, when I said that war is a massive industry and that Charlie stepped on people's toes who trade on war, who do real estate deals before the wars even start. When Charlie put his foot down and said to Trump, do not go to war with Iran, how many players were involved? How many private equity firms wanted Charlie gone? Again, that's a rhetorical question, but I'm interested. And this provides us with a new angle. And like I said, the Egyptian planes kept telling me the story that every time there was like a kerfluffle in Israel, a little war, people are bombing Israel. So could you park aside the lawyers and get information for us, Trump? No, you can't do that, can you? Right? You obviously can't do that. If you're going to sue somebody, maybe people that are in the Epstein files, a good reason to sue is like getting away with raping kids for decades and protecting them because of who they are. Maybe somebody, the 33 Club should be sued. You're going to sue Drewski. You're going to sue us for knowing that they're lying about everything, for keeping track of their lies. By the way, I would like to keep reminding you that most of us welcome a lawsuit because then they would be required to give us the information that we're asking for. That would be great. It would be required to provide the information so there's no more guessing. We don't have to guess. We can demand. We can do exactly what Tyler Robinson's defense is doing, saying, how did you get this technology? We'd like to see the literal receipts. What was the chain of custody? The reason you should never sue, which is just some advice, is if truth is not on your side, because it will come out eventually. It'll be painstaking. Because the easiest thing to do, if truth is on your side, is just answer the questions. Hand your phones over. Do a long sit down, right? Publicly, do it for the public. And they're not going to do that, right? It's just, we're powerful. We have money. Scott Besson can issue letters on the spot and say they're great. Look, we're at the White House celebrating Easter. That's power. There is no true power without truth. And that's what they're learning. This is a lesson that they're learning. It is just a figment of your imagination if you don't have truth on your side. It's an illusion. And it's very easy to cut through that illusion with truth. And so they're mad. They're big mad. Anyway, you guys, if you would like to support our show, we have new merch on the web. Carol, he's got a website that is capable of doing that. You can release them to the public. I will promise you, we will be the army of paralegals.
All right, chat. That's Candace. She's reading the comments now, man. We finna get up out of here, chat. I'm gonna take some comments. If y'all got any questions, anything y'all want me to know, or any questions y'all got, man, now's the time to get that shit off your chest, chat. We're gonna chill out, hang out for a minute, you know, talk about some shit. This is wild, chat. This situation is unfolding rather quickly, with the sheriff stepping down in Utah Valley, Tyler Robinson fighting the case. We got the explosion going on that blew up the company that was making explosive devices. 16 people unalive. This could unravel this could open up a can of fucking worms. This could open up a can of worms, really. Wow, man. Then we got global crisis going on. Crazy. Yeah, Christy Noam, husband, had them titties on yesterday, too. Crazy. Let's talk about the poll I put up. Did Trump make the right call on Iran? Out of 2,050 votes, we have 36% said yes, 64% said no. Hindsight is 2020. Trump thought this was gonna be rather swift. Now it's been extended. It could turn into being drawn all the way out. So obviously something wasn't clicking on all cylinders, whether it was timing, method, something wasn't clicking on all cylinders. Yeah, he had them titties on, man. Crazy. Crazy. He's a little further than a metrosexual, chat. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, that's a little further than being a metrosexual, man. Like, putting on a damn a boob shirt, bruh. Blowing kisses and shit. Like I told y'all, bro, like, this one step away from cutting that bad boy off, man. Shit's crazy. Shit's crazy. Chat, do y'all think she knew, chat? Do y'all think Christy knew her husband was cross-dressing like that? Do y'all think she knew, chat? Crazy. She talked about she was blindsided. Talk about this was blindsided her. You said nobody cares what Christy's husband did. Yes, the fuck we do. This the same people telling us to, you know, be conservative, preaching conservative value. Ain't nothing conservative about putting a fucking titty shirt on, bro. There's nothing conservative about putting on massively enormous breast in the form of a silicone shirt. There's nothing conservative about that, man. It's like, fuck, bro. What is woke? What is the LGBTQ movement, chat, for 5,000? Like, what are we talking about here? What? It's crazy. I feel like he would have sucked some meat. He did all that. He probably would have sucked some meat. Rose Candace's episode today was just about some new revelations unfolding. She's bringing the Romney family into the investigation. She also said that she's gonna take next week off. As far as Trump addressing the world, he really just ran his mouth, said what he's been saying. Tucker and Dave Smith had a good convo going that got interrupted. Yeah, AJ. It's crazy. Like, everybody talked about Barack Obama, man, but one thing for sure, Obama didn't put no fake titties on, man. Biden didn't put no fake titties on. Trump didn't put no fake titties on either, but we know who did. We know who did. It's gotta be crazy, bro. Picture that being your uncle, Chad. Picture his nephew. Picture his nephew, his favorite nephew. That was your favorite uncle, Chad. What do you do in that situation, Chad? What do you do in that situation if that's your favorite uncle? He just got exposed for wearing them titties, man. He just got exposed. Pictures everywhere, man. He got big ass titties on, man, in the form of a silicone shirt, man. What do you do, man? Who cross dressing? Christy Nome husband. Christy Nome husband cross dressing. What if that was your uncle, Chad? What do y'all do, man? What you say you gonna call him out? What you gonna say to his ass? Silicone. Man, yeah, what if that was your uncle, man? I'ma tell you, Chad, this how I be. I be like, damn, Monk, they got you damn bad. What, you lose a bet or something, man? What the fuck is going on? I just know I didn't see you with them big ass silicone titties on, Not my uncle, bro. Man, are you cool, man? Like, I might have to pull out a drug test, man. I might have to make sure Unc ain't smoking, man. Make sure Unc ain't on that shit. I'm gonna have to make sure he ain't on that shit, man. What the fuck is going on, man? Hell nah, Hey, the first thing I would have said, nah, Unc, man, you know we don't even play like that. That's one of those situations, chat, where you gotta be like, nah, Unc, we don't even play like that, man. He gotta explain it. It's one of those situations Unc can't walk away from. It's like, now come on, man. Like, yeah, you know we don't even play like that, Unc. Please tell me this fell out your pocket. Man, it's crazy. That's crazy, man. It's crazy. You say you gotta laugh at it, man. Listen, man. I ain't gonna lie, Chad. I'll probably start treating my uncle a little different, man. I'll probably treat him a little different, man. I wouldn't be disrespectful, but I definitely probably treat him a little different, man. Yeah. I kind of treat him like a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, Unc, you a little weird, man. Like, I ain't gonna disrespect you or nothing, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna call you out your name, man, but you a little weird, bro. Like, I still remember when you put them titties on, man, and sat down and took that picture, man. Real talk, Unc. You, certain shit he ain't gonna be able to comment on. Straight up. Like, if you out here wearing, you know what I'm saying, silicone titties and shit, it's certain shit you just can't comment on, brother. It's certain shit you just can't. You got to sit this one out on. Real talk. I'm trying to picture, bro. Like, wow, bro. Then chat, y'all know allegedly they say it was an upset illegal, man, that leaked the information. They said it was an upset person that was illegal or that got deported, because y'all know he was sending the pictures to the OnlyFans models. He allegedly paid $25,000 in private messages talking back and forth to the OnlyFans models, and then that's how that picture got leaked, because he sent that picture of himself with the man. I'm gonna pull it up, man. Y'all ain't gotta believe me. Pull that shit up. Please tell me this fell out your pocket. I ain't gonna lie, chat. This shit right here is crazy. This is next level, bro. Y'all can't tell me he's not one step away from cutting that bad boy off. Come on, bro. He's one step away from cutting that bad boy off, bro. He about ready to let it go, man. He about ready to drop the top on that thing, man. He about ready to drop the top on that thing, man. Come on, chat. They said illegal put it out allegedly, man. They said it was somebody, because he sent this picture. Like, you know, on the sites they say you gotta send money to message, and this was a message he sent somebody. Yeah. That shit's crazy, brother. Crazy, chat. They asked Trump about it. He said it's too bad. I ain't gonna lie, chat. That shit's a little crazy, bro. He allegedly sent tens of thousands to women he chatted with. Even sent selfies wearing pink hot pants. I guess they meant hot pink pants. And flesh tone crop tops stuffed with balloons inflated to resemble cartoon sized breasts. Even featuring outlines of protruding nipples. Oh shit, so them are balloons, Chad? Those are balloons? One conversation viewed by the Mail, not Daily Mail, but by the Mail, Byron pledged to worship one woman like a goddess, telling her, "You turned me into a girl," before asking, should he put on leggings. Questions about Noam's marriage have increasingly come to light. Oh yeah, they was in South Dakota. They didn't have shit else to do. Yeah, they got a little too curious, man.
A little too curious, man. They trying to say those are balloons, Chad. A flesh-colored top. Yeah, this nigga's tripping, bro. He's tripping, man. Talking about you turn me into a girl, man. What? Yeah, Chad, I don't know what's wrong with these people, man. I don't know what's wrong with these people, man. Chat, we 10 subscribers away from the next sub goal. Can we get a quick 10 subscribers? Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah, they talking about he had some hot pink pants on, man. Is that the guy that they say he got a $2 million insurance empire? She asked for privacy. Let me take the picture there in chat. She asked for privacy during this troubling time. Let me take the picture there. Yeah, she asked for some privacy. I'm gonna take the picture there. That shit's crazy. Damn, I thought I was taking the picture there. All right, chat. They say R3 Bio is working to grow headless human bodies to harvest organs for research as President Trump phases out animal experimentation. So how do y'all feel about them growing headless bodies for organ harvesting? How do y'all feel about that, chat? Agree or disagree on growing headless bodies for the sole purpose of organs harvesting? Y'all agree or disagree, chat? Headless bodies for organ harvesting. Yeah, this is crazy, chat. It says if we can create a non-sentient headless bodyoid, that's what they're calling a bodyoid, for a human being, that would be a great source of organs. Shit's crazy. Man. Bodyoids. That's crazy. I knew they wasn't gonna stop fish. But yeah, chat, we finna get up out of here, man. I'm really tired. I'm not gonna lie, man. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I'll see y'all on the next one, chat. See y'all.